Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 137. Tonight on the cast is myself, Vinto, and Alex, aka Zaberwolf. We're going to be going over House of the Dragon episodes 2 and 3, The Acolyte episodes 5, 6, and 7, and The Boys episodes 5, 6, and 7. We got a couple of new trailers from Marvel to talk about as well, and any other nerdy news in between. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Leave a like on the video as well. That really helps us out. And if you're watching us on a replay, maybe leave us a comment below. Let us know what your favorite bits of the summer have been so far. Without further ado, here we go. Hello there.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
How are you, man?
A little like it feels like almost jet lagged. Like you're sitting in the car for 5 hours just waiting to get off, and it's kind of rough. But made the trip back home safely, and just back here trying to keep cool. I think the AC unit's trying to work overtime because the heat's just kind of rising in the household, but I can definitely tell that it's working because it's cold as fuck in here.
What kind of heat are you dealing with at the moment?
Just like it's like a 94 right now, but the house's AC unit is
Yeah.
it's fairly small and trying to like circulate throughout the entire house. So in the living room, it probably feels like kind of decent, maybe like room temperature, but in the actual room that I'm in, it's cold, pretty cold.
And is 94 kind of average temp for you around this time of year, or is it hotter than usual?
In Washington, I would say it's kind of average. I mean, it's a bit of a heat wave. Like they did a bit of a heat wave, alert. It should be in the hundreds, like here and there throughout the week. But other than that, like it's pretty decent. It's not too bad. It's not like California weather. I remember like having to deal with, the 110s, like getting close to 115.
That's crazy, dude. Like I've only really experienced that heat myself once, and it was when I was in Vegas, and it was like uh again ideal in Celsius. So for anybody, I had to look it up while you were talking. So 94 in Celsius is 34 for anybody, 34.4 for anybody who doesn't deal in Fahrenheit, who might be
Right.
listening or watching us. But yeah, I think I was in 43 Celsius. It was like the hottest that I've ever been in, and like it was unbearable. Like, for someone like me, I think in my country it rains maybe 310 days out of the year. So it's like we don't have good weather very often. And when we do, 26, 27 is considered like a belter for us. Like it's amazing weather. So, for you right
Gotcha.
now, it's like 34. I think the hottest that my country has on record, I think, is 35, like ever. So,
That's not
yeah.
too bad though.
It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
And it's what's really funny is because again, I always see this sort of stuff pop up on social media and stuff. But like when we have a heat wave here, even people like from the likes of like Brazil and stuff who live here who are used to hot weather, they still are kind of like Irish weather hits different, like, because I think you just get
Right.
climatized to being in colder and wetter weather. So when the actual heat comes, it's actually fucking it hits different, like for sure.
Right.
Yeah. I think we should just jump straight in because we've got a lot of shit to talk about. It feels like we haven't been live in a long time. I think it's like this is like the third week since we've spoke. So,
Yeah. Yeah, we had a little
there's
bit
a
of a
good bit to talk.
hiccup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put my hands up and say I fucked up there like 2 weeks ago because you had told me offline that you weren't going to be available for 2 Sundays in a row, and I thought that it was like 3 weeks ago and then 2 weeks ago, but it was the next 2 weeks that you weren't going to be available.
Right.
So I hadn't got any prep done for the podcast, so I was like, I can't, because I remember you text me like at our usual go live time, and we're like, "Where are you? What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
no!" I literally like full blown. I was on my couch, like reclined and everything, and watching a movie. Me and the lady, and I was just like, "Oh shit!" And I didn't have a thumbnail made, nothing. I was like, "It's not gonna happen, bro." I was like, "Just forget it.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just
No, it's all
we'll
good.
just wait till you come back." So, and I know you weren't meant to be live today, so I appreciate you actually, putting in the effort to come back today, because again, it would have been like nearly a month worth of content, and this is probably one of the busiest times of the year as well. So it's not ideal for us to be away for so long. But look, life happens, and this is the way it goes. But
Mhm.
we've got 3 episodes of The Acolyte to talk about. God help us. We have The Boys, again, 3 episodes as well, and 2 episodes of House of the Dragon. the third episode is probably about to air in like 2 hours or something. So you'll have to wait
Right.
for next week. Just a couple of other hitters from the week. I kind of have a little bit of notes on it. There was a trailer for Agatha all along since the time we've been live last. I think it aired last week, and Captain America 4 trailer as well. I kind of wouldn't mind talking about the Captain America 4 trailer now first before we kind of roll into the recaps and the breakdowns. Because I know you're a big Hulk fan, so I like the second I saw it, I was like, holy shit, like they confirmed Red Hulk. I think it's been like something that, we've all kind of really known about. It's like one of those kind of worst kept secrets in the MCU, but I think we knew he was coming, but it was kind of cool to kind of see it finally. What did you think?
Right.
And like, again, you're a big Hulk nerd, so maybe you'll be able to break down this trailer a bit better than I did. There is a little kind of reaction to it on the channel already from one of my live streams during the week. But yeah, tell us what you thought.
I mean, well, in terms of Red Hulk, I gotta say, like ahead of everything, like I am not in any way, like I have no hardly any knowledge of Red Hulk. I just know that he exists. I'm more aware of like the fact that those Hulks exist, like Red Hulk, Red She Hulk, and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't really follow them that much as like the original Hulk, but I probably should. I think
Yeah.
I'm just more like I'm just usually more interested in the storyline of the original Hulk, because when you add like those other mixtures, it is a pretty interesting deal.
Mhm.
Of course, it's a basically a match up against the original Hulk, and it's based upon like his ailment essentially, and the fact that like it's kind of gets rid of uh the design that like he gets angrier as he gets madder.
Yeah.
It's more along the lines. I think it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody in the chat? I think it's more due to like radiation. I don't think that they can get stronger as they get angrier.
Mhm.
It's so it's an entirely different ball game, and it does become sort of an anti-hero kind of situation. I think it's interesting that Ross becomes Red Hulk, and of course Betty becomes Red She-Hulk. Uh, and
That's
it's
cool.
just
Do you think they'll cover that in the MCU? Because I know rumors are flying that Liv Tyler's going to be making her return. I believe she's in you see it in the trailer. There's a funeral scene. I don't think we know exactly whose funeral it is. I think it's maybe, my guess is that it's the president who dies and then Ross becomes president. I think it's going to be that president's funeral, perhaps, that she shows up
Mhm.
for, because she kind of like, her dad's about to become president. I think it would be kind of makes sense that she's there. Some people are saying it's Steve Rogers' funeral, which would fucking break my heart. I hope not. Or some people are even saying, and I hope this isn't true, but it could be, and I don't think this is true, but some people are saying maybe it's Ross's funeral, like Thunderbolt's funeral at the very end of the movie, like maybe he dies or something. But
Mhm.
then I had heard that he was doing more than one appearance, so I don't think that's actually legit. But sorry, go on.
Yeah, so like from what I recall in the comics, Betty is presumed to be dead.
Right.
So throughout the time, she's presumed to be dead, and then eventually they find out that there's another Red Hulk running about, and then they find out that it's a female, and they're like, "Oh, it's a Red Hulk, but it's a female," and then they find out that it's Betty.
That's cool.
Uh, so that could be the case. That it could be the case that maybe she passed away, and then there's these drastic measures that Ross has to take. I really think it's kind of odd that they want to put Red Hulk in with a Captain America movie. It just seems like they don't necessarily have any sort of direction to put any sort of Hulk type characters. Considering that I'm not entirely sure if they can ship the original Hulk the way that they want to. It could be wrong. It could be something to do with maybe they wanted to market more characters. He gets
Yeah.
hotter the angry. Okay, so thank you. I really appreciate that.
Griff
I
coming in with the
really
knowledge. Let's go.
yeah,
Appreciate you,
I
dude.
I, I really appreciate that because it's definitely a different take, and that it does make sense now. It kind of brings like it unlocks memories of like, oh, okay, yeah, like he's basically in like a really hot character in the sense scorching and whatnot, whereas like Hulk is like the world breaker.
Yeah.
Um,
Is in the comics again, I don't think I've ever read a Hulk comic like specifically Hulk, but I've read stuff that Hulk appears in or whatever. But um, I was hearing or listening to somebody else talk about this, but they were saying that I think Red Hulk is gonna get this serum or whatever from She-Hulk. And I don't know if that's just an MCU thing or if that's actually a comic thing. So does Red Hulk's power or like, the serum that is developed for Red Hulk, does that come from She-Hulk? Or is that
Uh,
just for the MCU?
that might just be from the MCU. I'm assuming that it's going to be something leader based because they did tease the leader.
Yeah, he shows
And
up. I think he's in the trailer like twice.
right. So it seems like they're trying to work around possibly his origin. I have absolutely no idea what Red Hulk's origins are. I'm assuming that it's like, something serum based, like you said, because it's not like the natural gamma bomb explosion that happens with Bruce, in which
Right.
case he becomes like the Savage Hulk.
Yeah.
It's just I'm trying to like run through it real quick. It says that he was created part of a super soldier program by several persons, including Doc Samson and the criminal think tank and intelligentsia, headed by Modoc. So
Modoc.
like, dude,
Interesting.
dude,
Interesting.
I am not fucking with you, dude. Modoc
Yeah.
is insane.
I
It's
think
an
the
insane
MCU have
character.
ruined him though.
They fucked him hard. They took his big head ass out of that tiny little tank and slapped him on the cheeks and said, "You're out of here."
Yeah.
It was fucked up, dude. Like they really should have
Uh,
done Modoc better. It's so fucked.
yeah. Andre, I appreciate you being here live, dude. I literally woke up to pop in live. I really appreciate that. Andre's an hour ahead of us, so it's like half after midnight for him. So I really appreciate you being here, dude. Thank you.
What are you talking about? It's 3:30 over here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We go off Alex's clock. um, yeah, man. I don't know. Like, I was very skeptical of this movie, and I'm still skeptical, but because I know there's been like so many rewrites, there's been so much money pumped into this for reshoots and everything. Like, I believe the Giancarlo Esposito scenes were only shot like a couple of weeks ago, and he's in the trailer like twice already. So I wonder, like, has the movie got such a reshift that they're pumping him out because it's like, okay, it's a completely different movie now, sort of thing. I don't know. Like that kind of scares me. I'm not the biggest Falcon fan, as you probably know if you've listened to this podcast for a while. I don't really like Sam Wilson too much, but I gotta say it looks great. I love Harrison Ford, obviously, so getting to see him as Thunderbolt is going to be interesting. I was listening to Den of Nerds the other day, and he was like fuming that the the Tash is gone, and I don't know if they just shaved the Tash to make the joke, like do the whole appearance thing again, like they did with Don Cheadle. But
Right.
if I don't think it's as bad as like Harrison Ford just not wanted to grow a mustache or put a fake one on. I think like they did that to be able to justify the recast. It's like, okay, like his appearance has changed, and it kind of makes more sense. What I was kind of thinking, which I think is kind of funny as well, is if Betty does appear in the movie, like is she going to run into Ruffalo, and is Ruffalo going to be like, are they going to do another appearance joke? Like, as if to say, like, Betty's like, Jesus, that serum's really doing a number on you, Bruce. You look completely different, something like that. I don't know, bro. It's like, it's so funny because like pretty much all of the recasts in the MCU, except for Don Cheadle, is all kind of centered around the Hulk, which is kind of hilarious to me.
It's fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah. And I
Like
wouldn't be
they
surprised if War Machine shows up in this movie as well at some point, like, because again, he's kind of just connected with the president and all that
see,
sort of stuff, like,
see, and you know what the fucked up thing is, man, is that we've been talking over and over about how much we want different cameos, different interconnections. We want things to kind of work together. We want these characters to kind of run in together. It's like if you start telling me that they're gonna throw this and then this and then this and then this and then this and it's like, where did this all come from? Like there's no interconnectivity as far as I know. So once they actually start throwing connectivity here and there, I'm going to be really skeptical about how well they do the interconnectivity.
Mhm.
And it upsets me, even though it sounds hypocritical, it upsets me.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing, but I do want to see it. It's not like I don't want to. It's just I don't know how well they're going to execute this stuff because they've been really, really bad with it. Like when they did, like we can always 100%. I think shit's gonna this. I know we talk about this all the time, like, and I think this is going to be another classroom thing for like direction and art and movies and whatnot. But like going through She-Hulk's bullshit and understanding that like the confrontation that she has with Abomination was nil, and that there was no real like boss enemy at the end of the show.
Mhm.
It just it really felt like a kick in the nuts for all these characters that are associated with the Hulk. Like it just felt like it didn't matter whatsoever. So like when you see that Captain America is, messing with or like hanging out with the president at this point, and there's no reason for there to be any sort of like experimentation to go on, except for the fact that like they have the ability to showcase Red Hulk for some amount of time.
Mhm.
Like I highly doubt, I really highly doubt we're going to see Red Hulk for more than maybe a minute or two.
Do you
Um,
think he's gonna have like Harrison Ford's exact face? Like, is it gonna look cheesy, or do you think like they'll kind of change his appearance? Because I suppose She-Hulk didn't. Did She-Hulk really look like the actress, or did they kind of change it a little bit? Like, it wasn't like terrible looking, and I suppose until they did Smart Hulk, it didn't really look like Ruffalo either. So I just
so
wonder. I wonder, are they gonna make him actually just look like Harrison Ford?
I mean, it wouldn't be a problem to make him look like Harrison Ford, but at the same time, the idea behind, Red Hulk and Savage Hulk is the fact that they're like monstrous. So
Mm,
you want them to look as, deadly and as sinister as possible. Because even though Hulk is not a hero per se, he's more of an anti-hero. Like he just either he wants to be left alone, or he happens to be in the area and he's helping people out, or it's something to do with Betty and Betty wants him to help, or he has some sort of connection that he feels with some of the characters that are there. It's just
mm,
like with Venom, like the lethal protector. Like you essentially have that persona, but in other cases he's a villain.
yeah.
It really depends on the scheme. So like, but when it comes to Hulk and Red Hulk, they don't really get that choice. They're constantly monstrous from the get-go. So if they do Harrison Ford's look-alike, but don't add any sort of like additional spin to it to make it look as if he's very like strong, or even very like what's the word, threatening. It's almost like you're just, yeah, that's Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
In that sense, like when I don't know how often you've actually like watched the original Incredible Hulk, but the Incredible Hulk in like with Edward Norton, it has some semblance to Edward Norton, but not in its entirety. Like you look at his face and you're like, this is a completely different
Yeah.
looking like
That's
person.
what I love. That's what I love. I want that,
Right.
because you want, especially with the Hulk, it's he's he's not choosing to change unless he absolutely has to, because he just knows it's going to be destruction, and it's an internal battle for Bruce to even make the change, or
Right.
sometimes it's completely out of his control altogether, and I love that. But yeah, I just don't. I would like it to go back to kind of berserker, savage kind of Hulk style stuff.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I want to see his face. It's kind of something that I'm up in the air on. If it just looks like Harrison Ford with like a big like CGI red body, it's gonna look a bit ridiculous. So I don't really know. It's like Griff says, will Red Hulk have the stash and Ross
If
won't?
if it turns exactly into that moment in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, where we see Electro being created and the teeth fuse together close, and you see the fucking stash come out,
Yeah, just like
that
it
would be the
popping out
best.
through the skin. Yeah, that'd be really funny.
Exactly.
It wouldn't make any sense, but it would be hilarious. I
Right.
think it'd be great. Yeah, and then like when he changes back, and the tash just disappears with it. I
Oh my
don't know.
goodness.
I wonder will it get to a stage as well? Because again, I know Harrison is so old, and we've talked about him in previous podcasts because he's been doing a lot of work, um, with 1923 and stuff, and indie and all this stuff, and like I gotta respect him, because he's like in his 80s. I think he's 84 now, and he's still working like a dog. Like it's amazing to see. And I just don't know. Like when he signed on to the MCU, I'm kind of like, Jesus, he's signing on for two projects here. Captain America's 4 is going to be 2025. Like, when's the next project going to be? Like, is it going to be 26 or 27 or 28? Like, he might not even be alive when the next project comes out, which is awful to think. But I think it's kind of maybe he does like a Bruce Willis and he sells his likeness to AI and CGI and all this sort of stuff, and then maybe he just does one transformation into Red Hulk and then he remains as Red Hulk forever. And if they have him like kind of looking like Harrison Ford and then maybe they just AI his voice or something, then they can keep Red Hulk around for years and years to come. And it's Harrison Ford, but it's not really.
See, and this is where I think it's going to really hit a wall, because they did the same thing to Abomination and then they changed him back.
Yeah.
The Abomination is supposed to be a permanent change.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like reverting back to
he's
the
all
original
zen and
form.
fake it out, pretending to be cool just to get off on good
Wearing
behavior.
wearing flip flops, having multiple wives apparently, and not, like it would, dude. Like, do you understand how easy that would have been? Just such a fucking perfect moment to have them all as villains on the inside. Like, it just would have been amazing. Like, he gets out, he's out on good behavior. Like, She-Hulk is like, I'm losing my fucking mind thinking that he's gonna cause trouble. He caused trouble for my cousin. He's gonna cause trouble.
Yeah.
And then like at near the end of the show, or like midway through the show, you see that like he goes into a secret lair kind of situation. And we find out that this version of Abomination is actually much smarter, and that like the women that he's hanging around, those are actually his cohorts. And then like they change into like different outfits, basically like running amok and causing trouble, and then they cause chaos in the city. And then there you go, you got your fucking villain. Like it like, we didn't need therapy and finding out who you are and whatnot. Like, you haven't even been She-Hulk for a fucking season yet.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fucking dumb.
Yeah,
Also,
I
just wanted to show something really quick.
Yeah, go ahead. I think it's kind of sad that they fucked up She-Hulk so badly that they kind of can't really use her again. It's like,
no, they
although
can't.
I think if she was to show up in a movie or something, it'd be fine. Or if she was to show up in this or something, it would kind of make sense. But yeah,
Yeah.
like, does anybody want to see She-Hulk season 2? Probably not.
Probably not. But like, this is what I'm talking about in terms of like transformation. When she becomes She-Hulk, the very, very beginning of the transformation, it changes her from like what she perceives. It changes her into what she perceived herself to be. Essentially, she's a very tall Amazonian style, still has like the curves in there, but she's savage because she's still trying to get a hold of that like inner being, because it's still a part of Bruce that like transferred over to her, and those are all her feelings.
And that makes perfect sense. I didn't like the way the show was just like, she's zen from the very beginning and has none of the struggle that Bruce had. And then she could just change back and forth as if she wants, like, and it just doesn't make any sense, because doesn't She-Hulk, she always wants to be She-Hulk because she's literal like perfection.
It's perfect. Like, she thinks she's perfect that way.
Yeah. And then her human form, we'll call it, like, she has like body issues and all that sort of stuff and confidence issues. So it makes sense for her to want to be She-Hulk all the time, whereas Bruce never wants to be Hulk. He's trying to hide it. So there's the yin and yang. Like, so yeah, I don't know, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
me as not even a Hulk fan, I understand that, so it's like, how do Disney and MCU do this? Like, they just fuck up everything, like, and look, I gotta cut this short because again, we're almost live a half an hour and we haven't even talked about one of the shows yet, so I'm gonna have to reel you back. I'm sorry, but we'll obviously be talking about this a lot more as the movie comes closer. I can't believe it's coming out. It's a bit of a weird release date as well. It's out on fucking Valentine's Day next year. Didn't really see it as a romantic film. I kind of joked and said to my lady, I was like, Valentine's Day sorted for next year anyway. We're going to see Captain America 4.
Might as well.
She was like, yeah, of course we are. And I was like, maybe I won't go see it opening night. I'll see.
See, and that's the problem, man. Like, why would you make this a Valentine's Day movie? This has nothing to do with any sort of romance.
Back in 2016, when Deadpool 1 was a Valentine's Day movie, I thought, okay, yeah, it's funny. It's kind of a love story that goes tragic and stuff. It makes sense why they released it on Valentine's Day. But this, I'm like, this is a really strange Valentine's Day release. It's very weird.
It doesn't make sense whatsoever.
Yeah. So look, I think we should talk about the Acolyte first. Let's just get it out of the way. We've got 3 episodes to go over, and I don't know. Sorry, actually, before we start, you're fully up to date on all these shows, are you?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't want to start talking about it if you hadn't seen an episode or something, but
I tell you,
um,
yeah, regardless.
especially with this show, yeah. So yeah, look, I actually think I'm gonna try and keep this one short because the Acolyte is just breaking my heart. It's horrendous. Um, Episode 7, just to kind of talk about it because it's the freshest one in my mind. The like I think a lot of people, and again, I'm loving all the kind of back and forth with people on Twitter and everything. Like, there's so many people that are like diehards that are like trying to defend this show, and I find it comical because it's like, how can you defend this show? It's like absolute ass. Like, where did the 180 million go? And like, there was multiple times in episode 7 where I was actually genuinely laughing at how bad it looked. Um, like the speeder scenes going through the forest with Torben and stuff. Like,
Mhm.
genuinely, I think Return of the Jedi back in 1982 looked better. Yeah, I couldn't believe what I was seeing and how bad the CGI was. And just some of the things that, like, for the whole season, again, we've only one episode left next Wednesday. I can't wait for the thing to be over. I can't wait to kind of give it a full kind of score and see where it actually sits, because I stupidly get into these arguments with people on Twitter, and I kind of have to try and rein myself back because there's like no change in people's minds. Like, some
Right.
people are just like, this show's great and you're a hater and blah blah blah. I'm just like, no, everything's bad about this show. I'm sorry, how do you not see that? But I can't wait for the show to be actually over, because again, talking about Torben, for example, like, straight away, everybody after the episode aired was like, is that the reason why he killed himself? Is that it? Like, he like went to try and go kidnap the twins. Is that why he took the vow of silence for 10 years? And it still doesn't make any sense, because I understand, and again, like, it's so stupid. Like, he's kind of just giving out about wanting to go home. It's like, I want to go back to Coruscant. He's like a child. It's like, I want to go home. I want to go home. I miss home. And it's like, you're a fucking Jedi. Like, what are you missing? You're missing training. It's like really, like, what are you missing? They don't have families. There's no attachments. There's not meant to be any, like, love. So it's like, what, you're just missing the Jedi Temple? Like, what are you missing, really? And what's so funny about his turn and his decision to go and try and kidnap the twins is, like, they just received word back from the Jedi Council that they were to not engage, leave them alone, and come home. That was the fucking thing. Like, go home. Your mission's over. Come back. And he goes, oh, actually, no, we need to go and kidnap those two kids because they're both virgins in the Force. Like, fucking Anakin was a virgin in the Force. Like, it's just, oh, man, it's painful. It's painful shit. Like, the writing is so bad. I'm trying to, like, pick out maybe some things that I liked about the episode. There's the part where Saul kills the mother, which I thought was, again, another hilarious part, because it's like the mother starts like turning into a demonic ghost monster, and Saul's kind of like sees the child getting sucked away into nothing, turning into smoke. So he's like, fuck this shit. I'm turning my lightsaber on and I'm going to kill this fucker. Like, she's an evil witch and using the dark side, and she's just turned into a demonic ghost. I'm going to try and kill her. And then, like, she stabs her, then she just reverts back. It's like, I was about to let Osha go. And it's just like, why didn't you just say that first? And then you'd still be alive. It's like, okay,
Dude,
guys, turn off your lightsabers, guys. Tell the wife, put down the staff. It's cool. We're going to let Osha go. She wants to go. Let's not have anybody killed, Like, that's where it should have gone. But instead, like, she just, without saying anything, just like starts turning into a ghost. It's like, of course you're gonna react. You know what I mean?
dude,
Oh,
it's the most it's the most they didn't have any reason for her to die, so we had to make some shit up kind of moments. Like,
yeah,
they 100%, she's trying to do damage control, right? And then the Jedi come back and they're aware that they're trying to take Osha. And
mhm.
what does she do? It was foolish for you to come back. Are you trying to provoke people? What the fuck
Yeah,
are you trying to cause a fight? What is this shit?
yeah. The
Do
Horn
this.
Mother as well tells May time to get angry. It's like, what are you doing? Like,
Oh, I hated that. I fucking hated that scene so
oh,
much.
bro.
Good girl, get angry. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. It's like,
who
sorry, what?
like the director is a fucking shitbag. 100%. That was the worst take I had ever seen. Even worse, I showed Katie this. I didn't show her the whole episode. I was just like, watch this shit.
Yeah,
May, run. And I'm like, Where did that come from? Like, at
Yeah.
what point are you like, run? Like, what?
It's so bad, bro. It's so bad. And like obviously then after the mother gets killed, um then like the Horn Mother, we'll call her. I don't know what these people's names. The Horn Mother is like trying to attack Saul and he won't attack. And that was kind of a bit that I liked because obviously, he's like, shit, I can't believe I killed her. And he's like, I won't attack you. And he's like kind of just dodging her attacks and grabbing the staff and stuff. I thought that was cool because I was like, that's Jedi. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of that is how you would react to that. But yeah, I don't know,
She
bro.
has a stick, dude. Like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like what
like
what what can, what can she do really? Like, but
well, all Saul had to do was literally break that stick with his
yeah,
lightsaber and then make her unable to fight back so that she
yeah,
wouldn't fucking scream, "Fight me!" Like,
yeah,
what is this direction, man? Why did you make her so yelly? Why was she
yeah.
a yeller?
I don't know, bro. Like again, it's like in episode 3, the mother is kind of like, look, let's not engage. Let's just keep our cool. Whatever. And like the Coven isn't even like on the Republic's radar. So it's like, why are they so hostile? You know what I mean? It's like, let's just chill. These Jedi are here, like whatever. Let's just kind of tell them what's what. Okay, one of the girls wants to be a Jedi, let her go. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever. And then they would leave, and that would be the end of it. It's just so stupid, bro. Like it's awful. And then like the Wookiee fight was kind of cool. There was like a cool bit where like Saul did like kind of slow-mo flip and like avoided the lightsaber, and like Torben, to be fair with him, the actor had some pretty good like lightsaber skills, but like, oh, Jesus, bro, it was so cheesy. Like all the witches just sitting there chanting and controlling the Jedi, and then Carrie-Anne Moss appears out of nowhere, takes him to the ground, and uses like a little force attack and kills every single witch. And I can't remember whose like review I was watching. It might have been like Nerdrotic or Critical Drinker, or one of these guys. Like again, I'm not really a big fan of these guys. Like I've never really known much of these guys' content until this show, but they make these phenomenal cuts of just how bad the show is, and they're able to just put everything together really kind of funnily on how bad the show is. But talking about like at one part, I think it was Nerdrotic, he puts in like when they all like fall over and die. And it's like, well, I guess the power of many didn't really do much in the end.
Right?
And like, it's so true. Like, it's like, oh, hang on a second. Like, these are all dark side witches. And it's like, Carrie-Anne Moss by herself is able to just kill them all. But then
Well,
16 years later, May's able to just kill her with a knife. It's like, where's the power scales here, guys? Like, I'm fucking
it,
confused.
it
Like, what's going on?
it was literally like they had to figure out how to have all of the coven die in
Yeah.
one shot without like there's no explanation as to how Carrie-Anne Moss's character can do that. We've never seen that in like from any sort of Jedi or Sith, even where they were just deliberately killing someone after like breaking a spell. Apparently, it's
Yeah,
like
it's like a mind meld, and then when she breaks the connection, it just kills all the witches. Like I'm kind of like, oh, okay, like maybe it'd be nice to maybe explain that. There's a couple of force powers in this one that are kind of new, and maybe if they were explained properly, or maybe you did a flashback and showed some like training of how they learn these powers, it might be interesting then. You know what I mean? But like right now, it's like Saul can read minds, and Carrie Moss has these powers where she can like do this, and it's like all this stuff is happening, but it's not really explaining how these guys know any of this stuff, because again, this is all new information to a lot of viewers, and it's kind of just being combed over and just like, away
right,
we go, like onto the next piece, onto the next piece, and it's all just kind of, let's get to the end of this story. But I feel like what's probably going to happen next week is the show's going to end on a bit of a cliffhanger, and then I think we're not even probably going to see season 2. I don't even think they're going to make it. I don't
no,
know if you saw during the week, like the Nielsen numbers came out, and it's the second worst viewed show behind Andor. Like Andor is like the lowest viewed show on Disney Plus. This is second lowest, and they were putting out all these articles like as the show was kind of coming out saying it's the biggest thing since Star Wars and blah 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 and all this stuff. Like, and it's like, well, actually, the numbers are out now, and you're fucking talking shit because it's terrible. Like, no one's watching it. And they're trying to hide like the rating on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff, which is again red flags everywhere if they're trying to hide the fan rating. Now I know there's a bit of botting going on and stuff like that, so it's realistically I would say the show should probably be sitting around in the 30s maybe. Like I know it's sitting on like 14% or something, which is obviously crazy low, but there are some episodes that are zeros out of 10 for me, 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10. This episode I thought was completely fucking lazy. Half of the episode was like retellings of episode 3 just from different camera angles, and it didn't really like satisfy me with answers like Torben, like why Torben killed himself. I still don't feel satisfied in that. You know, I think he had a bit of a rash decision. He's a fucking Padawan. You know what I mean? Like whatever. He's a child basically. You know, he goes and makes a fuck up mistake. But then like some of the decisions that the rest of them made in that episode, like again, Saul follows him, and then instead of stopping him, going, you can't go in there. You know, you can't like we can't attack these witches. He's just like, oh hey, I'm here now, and it's like, oh we can't get in this door now. And he's like, okay, let's go. I know another way in. Like and like he's an accomplice now. It's like well, just turn around, bring him back to the fucking camp. Like you know, it's just oh bro, it's just. And then, sorry, I didn't even talk about this bit yet, but when Saul was like saving the 2 girls, you realize that he's holding the bridge up with the force. And like, it's like, you know, he can't control it for too long. And he decides to let May go. And that's his big reveal. It's like he killed May because he let the bridge fall. It's like, why wouldn't he use the force to pick up the 2 little tiny girls who weigh nothing and just force pull them over to him? Instead, he's trying to hold up an entire fucking bridge. And then when after May falls and then he goes to save Osha, he physically runs over to grab her by hand, and it's like he could just use the force to pull her up and just bring her over. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, you know,
Right.
Again, it's just this is all again just writing and just people not understanding how the force and Jedi and all this stuff works. It's just it's outrageous, bro.
Well, even then, like while you're holding the bridge up, just fucking tell them to move.
Yeah.
Just tell them get the fuck out of here. Like
Run backwards, guys.
Why are and what in what world would like I don't care if you are 2 kids. I don't care. In what world do you look at a bridge and like the bridge is nearly collapsing and the only thing they're doing is this? As if they're fucking about to reach for each other. They weren't reaching for shit. Like it was garbage direction. Like it's just the worst situation. The bridge is about to collapse. Get out of here. Something like, you know, make it dramatic as if like, you know, what if Saul had essentially like tried to hold them both, but because he was trying to hold them both, he was trying to use so much strength to hold it that like one arm maybe too much force and it rips the fucking bridge and now it's fucked. It's going to drop her on the other end. So then she rolls off or something and falls. And then he's like, well, shit, I can't help her. I gotta, you know, something, make something up. Not this weird ass, I can't do it kind of shit. Like it didn't make sense whatsoever.
No, it really didn't. Like, I think, you know, again, logic is screaming at me throughout like this entire show watching it. Like, and I'm just like, how are they making these like stupid mistakes? One thing I did like, and I think I've seen a lot of people kind of talk shit about it online, but I actually kind of thought it was okay, is after she sets the fire and she tries to kind of put it out, and then she kind of turns around and like runs off. And she's like, Mom, oh my God. Like, as a parent, I kind of understand that kids do these irrational things that they don't really understand. And, you know, they instantly realize that they've made a mistake. And it's just, you know, it's kind of like, oh fuck, what have I done? Shit, mom, help! Like, you know, like that to me was probably the most real that acting that the kids did, because it was like, as a parent, I kind of know, yeah, look, kids do this stupid shit all the time and regret it instantly, you know. So I that was one part that I did like, and I was in the Star Wars Theory watch party when he was watching it, and he was kind of laughing at, like, you know, it's like these kids like are split personalities or something. Like, it's like, what's going on? Like, they make one decision and straight away it's like they change their minds and all this sort of stuff. Like, and I can kind of understand that part where they were coming from in the writing. I'll give them a pass for that. The show's not getting too many passes, but that is one that I'm like, okay, that actually kind of makes sense to me as a parent. I'm like, that makes sense.
Right. But what didn't make sense was not going, something is wrong. Osha is in trouble. Let's go help her.
Yeah.
And then maybe like work together for a moment.
Yeah.
Or be like, you know, we have to go and help her, or create this conflict that actually exists to the point where it's like, we have to go help her. And they're like, wait, we're at this, like, you know, create this whole situation of like, wait, we're at the standoff. What do you mean go help her? We can't. The Jedi are right here. We can't let them proceed any further. We can't let them near the girls. But we have to save OSHA. So then create this moment where they tell May, run, go, like, go find, or tell the coven, go find OSHA. She's our only hope. Something fucking, like, do something similar to what you would do in Star Wars, because you've already stolen so much shit. You might as well go full force. Say OSHA's our only hope. Go help her. Like, fucking, like, seriously.
Help me, OSHA. You're my only hope.
Exactly. Like, it turns into that kind of bullshit, dude. And then like, but that's the part that like really upset me, was the fact that like she came in and she screamed help, and what does the Horn Mother do? She initiates a fight at the point where she probably should not, as a mother, and go help.
Exactly. Yeah. I saw somebody make the comparison actually as well, which again, I don't think the people writing the show are parents either, like, because it's like, the Horn Mother should be the one who is probably the more so kind of the aggressor, the kind of not so much the protector, but she seems to be the nicer one for most of the show up until this last episode. She kind of went off the fucking rails in the last episode. I'm kind of talking for the show up to episode 7. Right. She's kind of been the voice of reason, and she's been like the kind of the protector of the kids. And then the mother, who actually carried them, she's the one who's kind of like, being really tough with them, and using the force to push them over and all this sort of shit. And I can't remember who, someone made this point, and it's spot on, because it is true. It's like, technically the one who carried them would have more of a biological and mothering connection to them, and then the other one would be a little more disconnected because she didn't actually carry them to term. But they've kind of reversed the roles up until this very last episode, when it's like, okay, the mother wants to release OSHA at the very last second, which again is just a complete 180 to how she's been acting the entire show. And then the Horn Mother, who's been the kind of sane and nice one for the whole show, does a complete 180 at the very end as well. And she becomes the kind of one that's instigated all this fucking battle. Like, it's ridiculous.
Right. It essentially turned into, oh shit, we chose the wrong mother to be kind-hearted and like, have reason. What do we do now? It's like, just switch the roles. Nobody's going to give a shit. And it's true.
They won't notice.
They won't notice. It's like, well, we do notice, but we also still don't give a shit. Like, it's just like, this is so dumb. Like, it turns into, like, I would understand if it turned into if they wanted us to care about this coven at all, or any of the two mothers, they would show like a turning point of like, you need to be a mother to them. Like, you need to show your compassion. They're our future, but they're also still children. They at no point were they ever really like only the main mother was actually saying like, they're my children. Those are my kids. They're the future of this coven and whatnot. Not telling the Horn Mother, essentially keeps that disconnection still there. But it's just so weird that she's just like, that it just creates this 180 essentially. And she's like, oh, I'm going to be such a mean asshole to them, and also get them all riled up so that they attack each other, even though they're supposed to be working together as a coven. It's like the Horn Mother is essentially like, it almost feels like she's a double agent at this point. Like, she just caused the big downfall because she initiated the attack. She got May mad to the point where she almost killed OSHA because she set the place on fire. She initiated like the fight between, the Jedi and the main mother, which case got the main mother killed. She made May run away and go find OSHA for no reason, which then caused the basic death, or the quote unquote death between May. And she did absolutely nothing. She couldn't hold a candle to anybody. And it's just entirely baffling at how much they kind of screwed up and shoehorned this character who had like no compassion whatsoever, or no real reason to be even associated with these kids, to be even a secondary. I didn't care for her. Yeah.
So the way at the very end she kind of smokes off herself, turns to smoke, and just like disappears. She yeah, but did she, like, I think there's two ways to kind of perceive what happened there. Is she the one who possesses the Wookiee Jedi, or are the whole coven together possessing the Wookiee and controlling him? Because I have two trains of thought here. I think like maybe because again, with the way she just disappears and kind of floats off, then the next second we see the Wookiee standing at the top of the hill, and it's presumed that maybe she's kind of her essence has gone into the Wookiee or something. But then you see all of the witches controlling them. So I wonder, did she just smoke off and just disappear, and she's still alive, and she's actually the only jet or the only like witch that's alive at the end of all of this? And that would lead me to think that maybe she's the Sith Lord at the very end, and she's the one who's actually behind all of this, which would, again, I wouldn't be too shocked. But then if she isn't, then if she was inside the Wookiee, would she have died as well? I don't know. Like, I think it's, how did you perceive the scene? Like, which way did you kind of think? Did you think that she possessed the Wookiee, or do you think that she just disappeared and fucked off and ran away? You don't even know. You
No,
don't care.
I like in my head, I keep saying to myself, you're giving this thought way too much credit. It's just way too
Well,
much.
maybe, yeah.
There's no way they thought that far. There's no fucking way. Like, I think
I presume next week when we see the finale, I think the stranger, as they're calling him, or the bad guy, the Smilo Ren, or whatever the fuck you want to call him. I think his real name is like Kumar or something, or Kumar. I don't even know his name. It's irrelevant. We'll call him, like, I think they're actually calling him the stranger. That's his kind of like Sith name or whatever. I think it's gonna be revealed who his master is, and I think it's gonna be the Horn Lady, or it's gonna be like maybe a Sith that we know, and then he just like slays him. Like a lot of people are saying, maybe it's Plagueis, a young Plagueis, and then Plagueis like kills him straight away. Like, you shouldn't have tried to reveal yourself or whatever. You're ruining my plans, or blah blah blah. And then it kind of links in maybe more so to episode 1, because Plagueis technically is alive in episode 1. I don't know. I think I am giving the show too much. I'm trying as a Star Wars fan to maybe cut it as much slack as possible. Like, I really am. I'm trying to see any sort of positives that I can in the show, just to kind of cut them some slack. But it's so fucking hard with the show. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to see the end of it now. I want to see what the full vision of the season was and just go from there. But it's painful, bro. What did you think of the fight? Again, I want to move on as quick as we can, because again, we're nearly live an hour. But episode 5 had some cool like fighting scenes in it. Again, we didn't get a chance to talk about this. Daphne Keene's character was fucking badass. Like, her choreography and everything was insane. Her death scene was kind of crazy as well. I was kind of thinking, oh, are they going to do the thing where, like, Sabine survived a stabbing, and fucking what's her name? The one from Kenobi. I can't even think of her name right now.
God, it's on the tip of my tongue too.
We know who we're talking about, but she basically got stabbed by Vader twice and still survived. I was thinking, like, if Daphne Keene's alive in the next episode, like, I'm done, bro. Like, right? She got stabbed 3 times in the chest, like, but thankfully she was dead. I was kind of sad to see her go, because after that fight, I was like, holy shit, this is the star of the show. Like, she's fucking amazing, But yeah, obviously she's dead in the next episode. I liked like some of the fighting, and the fact that his helmet is made out of this material called cortosis, which is, it's kind of, it was featured in the comics, and it's a bit of a legend thing in Star Wars, and it's able to defuse lightsabers and stuff. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. They're doing a bit of research, and they're kind of bringing something forth from comics and legends and stuff, and that's great. That's what I love to see. That's bring that sort of shit into live action and use it well. I think, yeah, this is great. You're onto a winner. But I just think it's kind of too little too late, I think, with the show. Like, I just think it's the show's just not good enough, and I feel bad for this actor who's playing the stranger, the Sith guy, because he seems like a really good actor, and I think if there was a properly written character for him, and maybe a better project, I think he could really do well, and he could become the next kind of Kylo Ren, and a bit of a fan favorite. Like, like, again, the sequels weren't great in my opinion, but fucking Kylo Ren was a fantastic character. Like, he was great, and Adam Driver was phenomenal in those movies. He carries that entire trilogy himself. Like, so, you could potentially have 2 or 3 seasons of this show. God, I hope we don't. But if you did, and you had a character like him carrying the whole thing, it could be watchable. I just felt kind of bad. But then you go into episode 6, and he's captured Osha. He's brought her to a planet, and she's his prisoner. And then there's the weird scene in the spring where he's naked, and it's like, and he's clearly trying to use the dark side to seduce her or whatever. Like, but like she's been there for like what, 10 hours at most, and she's got Stockholm syndrome already, and she's falling for him. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit, bro. Like,
I don't think she's not falling for him. That's not the case. You trust me. I didn't take it that way. I did not take it that way whatsoever. It is
in
not.
Episode 7. Let me just explain where I'm going with this.
Okay.
In episode 7, they refer to, when they do the midichlorian count, and again, I thought they were going to make a reference to how their midichlorians were. Yeah, the M count. Yeah, they didn't want to say midichlorian, but I think if they were going to say it's the highest ever, like it's twice Master Yoda's or something, like I thought they were going to go there and make it like more than Anakin's or something. But I was like, okay, thank God they didn't. I'd say they probably wanted to, but they had to rewrite that out of the script. But then they refer to them as having one singular conscience. So it's like they share a conscience, and they're basically one being split in two. So there's like maybe a light side and a dark side split in two. I'm like, okay. All right, okay. This is me again trying to pick out some positives here. I'm like, this could potentially be the reason as to why the actress is so bad and has no differentiation between the two characters. She's basically playing them the exact same, because in the story, they are the exact same person. And going back to episode 6 is like her kind of like, checking out his dick when he gets out of the fucking pond and everything. And like, there's definitely sexual tension between them, like 100%. Like, you cannot deny that. Everywhere, bro. Everywhere. Everywhere. She's sneaking. She's sneaking up. And she's watching. She does the long gaze of the dick when he gets out. Relax, bro.
You are reading way too hard into that, dude. It literally,
I'm telling you.
Bro, I could literally take you to a bathhouse right now and pull my dick out and be like, "You want to come into the bath with me?" You're gonna be like,
"We're not doing that, bro."
Yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to entice you. I'm trying to pull you into the dark side. But to show that, you show your vulnerabilities. Literally, he had the lightsaber sitting there. She could have taken it and fucking murdered him. That's the whole point. You're fucking naked. You can't fight me. What are you gonna do? What, like, literally, like, you have force, that's all you have is force powers. What are you gonna do? But he's aware that he's still in full control because he has the ability to use his force powers. Like, Osha doesn't have shit worth of combat training. It's very little compared to like what she had with the Jedi Academy. He would clearly overpower her in an instant. There's nothing sexual about that, dude. I could like literally just watch it. Just watch the show without dude. All you like, I'm
telling you now. I'm telling you now. Next week, fucking clip this out. But next week in the finale, there's gonna be something with the two of them next week before they close out the season. I guarantee it. But
she's gonna fucking walk into the waters naked and be like, "You want to join me?"
No, they're gonna do what they did in episode 9, where it just made no sense. But they brought Rey and Kylo into a fucking relationship. It was so stupid, and they're gonna do that again. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Dude, all it is that Kamir is go ahead and clip it. If you're completely right, I will I'm going to sign off. We'll talk halfway, and as soon as we get to that point where we talk about it and we find out you're right, I'm out. I'll see you next week.
I'll text you on Monday. You'll wake up to a text from me on Wednesday when I've seen the episode, because I think I'll have watched it by the time you probably wake up, and I'm just going to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I'll let you know. That'll be it.
So you're really telling me that these directors who want to make men feel uncomfortable are willing to create a romance between a man and a woman on the scene?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Then they are liars and hypocrites at that point.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't feel uncomfortable with any of that shit. Like, it's literally like, are you insane? Do you take a bath with your clothes on?
Of course not. But again, this dude is so strong in the Force, right, that he would know that she's there, and it's all a game. You know what I mean? He leaves the lightsaber out. He's getting naked. He knows she's awake. He knows she's following him to the bath. It's all seduction. It's all dark side seduction.
How did she know that? It could have been pools of reflection. It could have been anything.
So where I was going with this, again, I want to move on, but where I was going with this was the fact that you find out that they share a conscience maybe would make sense as to why she would have feelings towards him, because maybe might have had feelings for him as they were training together over the years. You know what I mean? That could have been, again, they share a thing. She doesn't know why she feels the way she feels, but it's because she's actually feeling May's feelings for him or something. That was my kind of thought on it. Again, I pray I'm wrong, bro. I hate it too. I pray I'm wrong. I hate it, bro. I hated Rey and fucking Kylo. It made no sense for 2 movies. They were fucking sworn enemies, and then in the end they're just like together. It's so fucking stupid. I hated it. Made no sense. And in episode 5, we see the stranger fucking wipe out 8 Jedis, and then what? Like Osha's like fucking staring at his dick in the next episode. It's like, what the fuck is going on, bro? It's ridiculous.
All right,
Unintended.
So then I'm gonna go over the video on my own. When we get offline, I'm gonna go over the video. I'm gonna because I am a very comfortable man who understands my own masculinity. I can stare at a dick and not think to myself, man, that's awesome. I am going to go back on that, and I'm going to watch, and I'm going to check to see if Osha is actually looking at his body, because I didn't catch that.
She does. She does. She definitely
There's no fucking way.
She looks down. She gets a good look too. Facts, bro. That does happen.
Were you staring at her eyes, looking at his dick, and you're like, man, I can see the dick through her eyes?
I was watching her eyes, bro, because I was like, because I found it funny, because it's like the dude gets out, he's like, if you're not going to attack me, can I get dressed or whatever? And it's like, okay, so he's standing there fucking naked, bro, and like her eyes do go down. It happens,
oh my god.
Yeah, I swear.
Okay.
I swear.
Well, then riddle me this, Batman. Anybody who gets naked in front of you, what's the first thing you're going to do? Are you going to look away, or are you actually going to check it out really quick and then look away? Because you're going to check it out real quick and then look away, because you're going to be like, oh shit, what am I looking at?
Are you asking me this question?
I'm asking you personally.
If I look at people's dicks, if I see dicks in public, is that what you're asking?
No,
me?
Just a person getting naked in general, dude. It doesn't have to be a dick.
Okay, well, we're talking about dicks here, right? No, I don't. But again, like, I don't know, if there was like a woman standing in front of me naked, it would be like, you would have to look, of course. So you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? It would be kind of thrown out of
exactly. Out of yes. So like this bewilderment is the same situation. I don't know. I think you're overthinking this, dude. I really think you're overthinking this, because she literally picked up she literally was more interested in picking up the saber and deciding on whether or not she should murder him.
Yeah. Again, I don't know. Rewatch it and let me know. Anyway, let's move on. Do you want to talk about the boys next or Hot D? I think Hot D makes sense after that conversation ended.
Yeah, sure. Let's get some more Hot D in us.
So much more D.
But which, by the way, like, holy shit, that scene. I was like, oh my god, they've never shown shit like that in even Game of Thrones. Yeah, it's explicit.
It's too much, bro. Like, and again, I'm completely comfortable with my sexuality. I have no, like, I don't care about seeing dicks on TV. I don't like it, right? I really don't. I have no time for it. I think it's shock.
I don't have time for dicks.
It's tasteless shock factor is what it is. And the fact that in this episode we actually saw an erect dick getting sucked, it was outrageous, bro. Like, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Probably fake, probably a prosthetic, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just, it's not the place for it, man. Like, I honestly, like, I think, like, in Game of Thrones throughout the show, like, you kind of, like, you see when they're in the bathhouses and stuff, like, you might see like some women's tits or whatever, or you see a woman with a big bush. Like, you don't really see anything, but your imagination is allowed to kind of go wild or whatever. Some people are really into that. I don't give a shit, man. Like, if I want to see a naked woman, like, whatever, there's places to go and look at that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
This is not the place, right? So when you see something like that happening, it's just like, oh man, like, there's just, for me personally, I'm just like, I don't buy into the shock factor. It's not what's selling the show for me. I'm not like, oh my god, wow, we're seeing a dick getting sucked. Oh my god, it's the best show ever.
She's going raw hard on him. She got that hot tour going on.
I'm just like, I kind of just cringe when I see it, man. I'm just like, this is just, they don't need this stuff. Like, do you think, is there any person in the world that watched that episode of the show and thought when they saw that scene, oh wow, that made the episode so much better? No. Like, I think
Well,
No, it
I
just makes
mean,
people it makes people uncomfortable. It makes people kind of like, oh my god, what the fuck? Like I can't remember. I think over my side of the world, the network that actually show it, because we don't have HBO over here, it's Sky Atlantic. So Sky, the company, basically have like a channel that you can pay for, same thing like pay per view or whatever. But there was like apparently there was loads of complaints in the UK and Ireland, like people just going like, what the fuck are you putting on TV? Like, you know what I mean? This is shocking. Like, and I'd say there probably is kids watching the show who are probably a bit too young to be watching it, 12, 13-year-olds and stuff. And seeing that, and imagine sitting down and watching that show with your parents or whatever, and you're sitting there and that shows up, like, I would be absolutely fucking mortified. Like,
well, that's why they have the little box at the end, at the very beginning of the thing that
I know,
says sexual content,
I
explicit
know.
sexual like you should see that and go, oh no, you have to get out of here.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
like,
and look,
or
I agree, and I think it's down to the parents what you want to show your kids and so on.
right.
But I think even when I was a kid, probably watched horror movies a little too young in life. Stuff like American Pie came out, and you see your first pair of tits on the fucking big screen in a movie, and you're kind of just like, whoa, oh my god, like when you're a kid, you're kind of like, holy shit, like that's amazing or whatever. I think I'm trying to think like I think the first pair of tits I saw in a film was in Titanic. Your one Kate Winslet's tits in Titanic.
Hmm.
I think I was like 8 years old or something. I was like, holy fucking shit, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, you know
Is
what
that
I
what you
mean?
said out loud? Like, right
I
at the end?
remember I remember watching that movie. I was sitting unfortunately, I was in the room with my younger sister. She was only like 6. And I was with a friend of
Jeez.
mine as well. The three of us were watching the movie on VHS on a little shitty CRT TV. I remember it perfectly. And I remember like me
Did
and
you
my
at least
mates
cover
were
your
like,
sister's eyes? Just be like, oh god.
I didn't know what was coming, bro. And again, I was like green as grass. I was so fucking like, innocence in place. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was
Yeah.
just like, wow. And like me and my friend, obviously, like going crazy, couldn't believe what we were seeing. But like, and like, I think that's not that it's fine. Obviously, I think we were again too young for that.
It-
But at the same time, like, there's something to it. You're growing up a bit or whatever. Like, you're kind of dipping the toe into some adult content. It's harmless, really. It's a pair of tits, like whatever. But like, I can only imagine like if there's like 12, 13-year-olds, again, I don't know, maybe 12 and 13-year-olds are different today than they were when we were 12 and 13. But, seeing that sort of shit on TV could potentially be damaging, like to people, like especially to maybe like young girls who are watching it who might not be exposed to that sort of shit. I don't know, bro. Like again, I don't really want to focus on this for the whole review of it,
right,
but
right, right.
it was
But
just
just like kind of putting back to that, like the idea though is that it's all based on the parental control, and then when you don't create any sort of parental control from your screen, that's your fault. I'm not saying it's right, but like this show is intended for mature audiences, which means anybody over the age of 18, probably even 21, I would say. Just to be like, I would say even 25. Be on the fucking have your brain done.
fully
Like,
developed. Yeah,
yes, have it all
yeah,
fully developed. All your
yeah,
bones are fused. All your proper bones are fused. You now have a little bit over 200 bones, not the 300 that you start out with when you were a
yeah.
baby. Like, fucking grow until you're done, and then have your shit going on with like mature shit. But
Mm,
like, it's again like I'm like I agree with you. I don't see, like, back then I was a kid too, saw some crazy shit, saw blood and gore, saw nudity. It for all I know, it might have fucked me up a little bit, but I have to go to therapy and find out. Like,
yeah,
you never know. But
true.
like, other than that, like, I'm a fully functioning person in society. I don't think that I have like those, you know, the desire to just want to like look for like TV tits. Like,
Mm,
it's just like you said, like, if there's a time and place for all of that. And it's, I mean, I don't care. It's if it is a brothel, so it is kind of
oh,
warranted that you may or may not see that kind of stuff. Should they show it on there? I mean, it's part of the story. Like,
yeah,
it's in the books as well. Like, Aemond is seen like in a rather like, basically vulnerable spot,
yeah, yeah.
essentially. And so like it fits for the scene, for what's going on. Should they have gone really explicit with the dick sucking? Probably not, but like, it really conveys like what is really going on in there. And because the audience should be over the age of 20 at
Yeah.
least, it's it's if you're watching this with your kids, and you see that caption that says like sexual content, explicit sexual content, that is your fault. Don't be mad. Don't be mothers against dicks. Okay. Don't be mad. Just turn the TV off.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is, dude. It's the moms. They're like, holy shit, I saw someone rocking hard on a dick. It's like, what do you expect? They're in a brothel.
Yeah, but I don't know, bro. Like, I think like if I was sitting watching that show with my daughter, like, and that scene came out, I'd be fucking fuming. Like, you know, I don't know. It's
like when your daughter's what, 20?
15. I don't know. Like,
why are you watching it when they're 15?
I'm just saying, bro. Like, let's be real. Like, when you're 15,
what do you mean be real? I'm not even a parent, and I know that that's not good.
I know. I wouldn't
be
watching.
They're developing, idiot. Like,
I know this, but in the real world, when you were 15, you were probably watching tons of shit that you shouldn't have been watching, both on TV and on the internet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I know that, but
that's because I found it, not because the parents were watching.
I know. But look, the point I'm making is the shock value is just, it's too much. I don't even think it's doing what they think it's doing. It's really not. Like, I think it's just pissing people off, to be honest. Like, it's not like making me want to watch the show more. Oh my god, we might see like a brothel scene where I'm gonna actually see some fucking full-blown sex on TV. It's like, that's not what I'm watching House of the Dragon for. You know what I mean? Like, again, brothel scenes, fine. Like, they've been doing it for years, like in Game of Thrones, in like Spartacus and stuff like that. Like, you'd see like the brothel scenes and there'd be people riding in the background, but you don't really see anything. You might just see a couple of arses or whatever, like bouncing back and forth, and your brain does all the crazy shit. You know, you fucking think, oh wow, that's like crazy or whatever. But this has just gone too far, bro. It's too far.
What is this conversation? It's dicks. It's dicks.
Yeah,
showing up on a show like a fully erect. It's supposed to be flaccid penis only for Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. If you remember the song, especially from South Park, wieners, wiener, wieners, flaccid wiener.
It's not just Game of Thrones though, as well. Like, I think Netflix are going off the rails with this shit now lately as well. They really are. Do you know? I don't know what the name of the show is, but there's a new show out on Netflix as well. I don't know. Like, again, I'll touch on this for a second and then we'll move on. But like, there's a Netflix show. I can't remember the name of it. It's got the dude from he was in Ozark, where he played the wife's crazy brother and stuff, and he was in like Iron Fist and all. Like, he's a really good actor. I really like him. Like, he's a phenomenal actor. He was so good in Ozark and everything. And I saw that he was in this show, and I was like, fuck yeah, I love this guy. Really want to watch the show. Then I saw an article on Facebook or something, and it's like the dude is fully erect in a scene on the show. And I'm just like, I'm not watching that show now because I don't want to ruin this actor. I don't want to ruin him.
I don't want to picture his dick in my head. Every time I look at him, I just see his dick.
I do not want to see his erect dick. I'm sorry. So I'm not going to watch that show for that reason only. Like, genuinely, like, maybe if I knew exactly where it was, I would be able to just skip it, because I just don't want that image burned in my head, and I don't want to ruin the actor forever for me. Like, in Game of Thrones, it's fine, and especially when you use extras, it's like you're not going to know. Like, again, it's not an actor that you know. Like, if I saw Ryan Reynolds erect dick on a screen, like, it would be really like it changes how I view him going forward. Like, I'm just like, that's too personal, bro. I was like, I don't want to see that. Like, you know,
I was at dinner with him one day, and he just like he got up to go use the restroom. He left the bathroom door open. I saw his dick for a moment. We went back to dinner, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. That's what I'm thinking about when I think about what you're saying.
No, bro, you gotta understand what I'm saying. Like, what I'm saying makes perfect sense. It really does. Like, I think seeing somebody's erect dick, I think, just changes your perspective of that person. Like, you know what I mean? It's too personal, bro. I'm not showing my erect dick to anybody except for my missus. Like, that is it. Like, you know what I mean? It's no one else in the world is going to see my erect dick except for my partner. That is it. Like,
you better not, dude.
Yeah, like, of course. I don't know how that could happen, but that is it. Like, so
you got too good of a relationship, man, to be showing your dick on television.
Netflix are going crazy. HBO's going mad. Like, I just don't know. It's just and again, like, you know, I've had this conversation with my missus as well. Like, and she's like, oh, well, like, you know, we've had to been looking at tits for 30 years. Like, and it's like, tits and erect dicks are not the same thing. I'm sorry, they're not. And like, it's like, oh well, you see full frontal on females sometimes. It's like, but you don't really. You don't
I
really, because it's like they hide it with the bushes and stuff, and it's not the same thing. I'm sorry, it's not. Tits and dick are not the same thing. They never will be. But
I
it's
mean,
just
until you
now look,
normalize it, which is what's going on.
and like that's a world that I don't want to live in, bro. I'm
You
sorry.
don't want to live in a
Like,
world of dicks. I get
I don't
it.
want to live in a world of erectics as well. Like again, I know they're taking the natural next step. Like I can't remember what movie it was. I think it was Gone Girl. At the very end, you see like Ben Affleck just standing in the shower and his knobs just hanging out. Like, and you're just like, whoa. I'm like, well, I didn't need to see that. Like, what the fuck are they showing me that in the last 30 seconds of the movie for? I'm like, what the fuck? Put it away, like. And it's like, I just don't need to see it. Like, I just don't know what the benefit of it is, especially in a movie like that where it's like at the very end of the film.
So,
Why, bro? Why?
so have you ever watched the Righteous Gemstones yet?
No, but if you tell me there's loads of dick in it, I probably won't watch it either.
I mean, I'll ruin it for you. Yeah. So, like, basically, Walton Goggins is in it as baby Billy Freeman.
Nice. I like him.
First time you ever see him, he gets out of a bathtub that's out in the middle of his like thing, dick just hanging out.
Flopping
But
around.
right,
Eye slapper, is it?
right, but but he went on like an interview and he came out, and hopefully this keeps you from not watching it. It was a stunt dick. It was
Yeah.
just a prosthetic thing that they used to like kind of create the illusion. It wasn't his.
Mm.
Is
I
that
would say they
enough?
all, to be honest, I would say they all do that, to be fair. Like,
Yeah, so
can
it's
you imagine
possible.
putting an actor in that position? It's like, yo, bro, we need to like show your dick to millions of people. Like, I'm sure the vast majority of them are probably going to do, yeah, well, like, throw a fake one
Well,
on. Like,
well,
that's
the showers are going to go free. The growers need a prosthetic.
maybe. Or they have to do a little prep scene first beforehand. It's like, do a couple of helicopters behind the camera and then walk in, like, I remember, did you watch that Pam and Tommy show actually?
No, I didn't get a chance to see it.
It's actually very good. But
I mean, 12 inches, right?
Sebastian Stan is Tommy Lee, and obviously, he's in the nip a few times in the show. But there's like one point where he's like really off his head on drugs, and like his dick is like kind of like a puppet or whatever, and it's like talking to him and everything. But again, it was like, like his Jap's eye was like the mouth, and it was like moving. It was like, it was awful, bro. It was just like really disturbing to watch, like, and it was just like opening up, and it was like a mouth and all. Like, I was just like sitting there, just going, I can't believe what I'm watching right now. It's like, this is just awful.
Bro, you don't
Awful.
talk to your dick?
I don't. No, I don't think so.
I don't know. I heard a little bit of hesitation there.
I had to like, maybe. Like, I don't think so, but like, it doesn't talk back. All right, man. Look.
All right, yeah. Let's get off this dick.
We're clawing it back. Dragons. Yes, there are dragons in the last few episodes of the show. The king, I presume, obviously after we see like his dragon die, Sunfire or whatever, I was like, is the king dead? I don't think he's going to be dead. I think he's like paralyzed or something like that, because it looked like he was kind of moving at the very end. But I presume where the story's going, like Aemon just picked up the knife. He's going to probably become like the acting king, which is a terrifying concept because he's an amazing warrior and he's got the biggest dragon in the world. And, he's definitely got a strategic mind. Like, he probably should be the king. Let's be real. So that's a very kind of scary concept because, he is probably the most terrifying person to sit in the throne right now, him or Daemon. And, the fact that we're getting one of them potentially sitting at the throne is a scary thought. I'm so excited. I love him. Like, him and Daemon are my two favorite characters in the show. I'm dying to see the two of them go off 1v1. Like, I want to see them fight. Hopefully it's a hand-to-hand thing and not in dragons in the sky, because I don't think anybody has a chance against his dragon. Yeah, Vhagar. Like, it's just terrifying, like, and the fact that he has like so many holes in his wings and everything, and he's like still fucking flying around, not a bother on him. Like, I think the only way you're taking that dragon down is if it's like, 7v1 sort of thing, like, and they just ambush him. And they get like every dragon on the black side, every dragon to go against him is like the only way you're going to take him out. And I presume that's probably how it's going to happen.
They could also ambush him with like the dragon killer ballista. that they had, like you saw on the keep or something. Maybe they, Rhaenyra employs something like that. Maybe, brings that to notion like, hey, so if we run out of dragons, we need something to defend ourselves essentially. And
Yeah,
I think that would be like a pretty decent alternative, especially because they lost like a big dragon themselves and they lost Rhaenys, and which like that was crazy, man. Like,
such a cool
but
scene.
right. And it kind of sucks because like you could kind of see that it was going to happen because she was way too engrossed in the idea of like, let's escape now. Let's not, like, she should have kept her mind open to the
Mhm.
fact that like Vagar is probably not downed somewhere. He's going to show up at
Yeah,
some point. And
when
she
she does
just,
when she does that final flyover, and like you can see, like she obviously feels guilt that she's done all that damage. She's killed so many people. Like she's scorched the earth. I think that she's kind of just like, look, I'm only going out one way here. I don't want to live with this grief. I'm going out swinging, and that's what happened. Yeah. Great scene. Loved it. Like really, really cool. Finally, kind of again. I don't even think I'm trying to think. Season one, like one of the only battles that we got was on the beach when Damon was fighting the crab people or whatever they were called.
Mhm.
That was kind of like one of the only fights that we actually saw, like a proper battle. And again, we get to episode 7 in the show. I think, is there only 8 episodes? Is it over tonight? Like, is tonight the last one,
Oh,
or maybe
geez.
there's
I
10? I think there's
could have
only
sworn there
8.
were 10.
I don't know. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully, there is 10. But I think we're coming to the end of season 2 as well, and we've only really seen one proper battle this season, and it wasn't really that much of a battle either. Like they've kind of been cutting away and bringing us into a scene at the very end where we only see the aftermath of the battles and stuff. And that was one of the things that was always so great about Game of Thrones, like when they had the big battle scenes like Battle of the Bastards and all that sort of stuff. Like you were kind of just so engrossed in the war aspect of it,
Right.
whereas here we're kind of just hearing about it more and not really seeing it. And it's kind of, that's been a little bit disappointing. But the dragons fighting was great to see. How much of that can we see though? Like, there's not a lot that happens in the air. They kind of maybe claw each other for a bit, or there's a bit of fire, or they bump into each other and they kind of fight in the air, but or they chomp down on each other. But like realistically, I don't think they can go next week and have another big air battle with another dragon. It's kind of boring. Like I think they need to go to the ground. There needs to be like, strategic battles happening and stuff like that for it to be very interesting, I think.
Right.
I think we need to see some of that stuff. Like, the Kristen Cole stuff is interesting. I kind of feel bad for the dude as well because, like, it's, he obviously knocked up the Queen Mother, and now she like has taken the morning after drink to so that's 2 babies now that he's had like kind of erased from him. So people don't want to be don't want to share a baby with him anyway, and that's I kind of
Well, I
feel
mean,
bad for the guy.
he's caused so much damage, like it's not
Yeah,
even worth making, like, and he's not supposed to have a kid in the first place, so it's like
true. Yeah,
and plus anybody any if they were to find out that the queen is pregnant, then that would cause discourse with like the entire kingdom itself. It's like there was no king. What the fuck? How are you
yeah.
pregnant? Like,
No, I
did you?
understand why she would
Yeah,
take it. I do understand. Like, again, it'd be the worst time for her to have another child. Like, but I just felt bad for Cole, like, because it's the second time it's happened to him in the show.
yeah.
It's like 2 possible kids gone. Rip.
But he's like he's such a douchebag so far in this whole situation. Like, not trying to defend Otto at this point, because knowing that Otto has way more, you know, tact and understands at being the hand of the king, and like just given to Sir Kristen Cole. Kristen not defending him at that point just seems like a big middle finger to Otto, which I think is pretty interesting. But I do like that he is kind of like, a lot of people hate Kristen right now.
Oh, they
Like,
hate
no,
him. Have you heard about
it
the stuff that was happening with the actor who plays him as
yeah,
well?
which is like, it's so fucking baffling, dude. That's
It's the sign of a
that's
good villain, though. It is the
it's a
sign of a good villain,
it is
which
the
is
sign of a
sad.
good villain, but it's also the sign of dumb people.
Oh, of course, of course. I
Like,
don't know if I ever told you the story, but a friend of mine like grew up with Jack Gleason, the guy who played Joffrey in Game of Thrones. So like a friend of a friend, like linked to him. I've never met him. Like I met him once, but it was like through a work circumstance. Like I've never actually been out for drinks with him or anything. But
right.
apparently he's the most down to earth guy ever. Really really nice guy. But they went kind of traveling through Europe after season 1 aired of the show. So I think season 1 was in the middle of airing, and they all went away on a holiday together, and he still thought that he was going to be able to kind of, maybe travel around freely with his friends, thinking, the show's not that big yet or whatever. And he literally was getting stopped in every single city that they went to on their interrailing tour. Everyone was like, "Fuck you, Joffrey, we fucking hate you, bro, like you're a dickhead," and everything. And like my friend who was telling me this story was kind of like, it was a bit of a scary situation. Again, all of us are in a foreign country, and there's all the locals are all screaming at us and all, saying how much they fucking hate Jack and all, like, and we're just like, Jesus Christ, it's a TV show, he's an actor, like. But the way I look at it, I know it's obviously, you're dead right in what you say. It's stupid people like treating an actor poorly because of a character that they play, but like, it's the sign of a really good like character.
Yeah,
Because if
100%.
you're driving people to think that passionately about an actor to where you're going to actually go and attack the person, like I never would myself, obviously, but at least it shows that people are taking the character seriously
Right.
in a sense. So
Well,
obviously there's like positives to that. Again, obviously it's good writing, it's good acting, but yeah, again, it's ridiculous, and I feel sorry for anybody who has to deal with online bullying in real life. And even to go back to the Acolyte, like the main actress, I can't think of her name right now. Like, she's getting an awful lot of hate online, and again, like, don't blame the fucking poor actress. Like, she's just doing her job. Like, she's not the best actress. That's different,
no.
but I'm not gonna
But
attack her for it. I'm not gonna start leaving comments on her page saying "fuck you," blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like,
right.
grow the fuck up. Like, I can talk, I can review your acting and say, look, you're not really doing too good of a job here. But I'm just saying that as a review of the show. I'm not
Right.
fucking attacking the person. Like, it's just,
Right.
it's a weird
But
world we live in, man. It's a weird
right.
world.
But I think she did kind of shoot herself in the foot because of the way she acted in the
Yeah,
interviews, being very
and
cocksure about
she
like
brought in a
who.
diss track. Did you hear her track? She released a
No.
song. She
Oh,
released a song, like a rap, like dissing Star Wars fans and everything. So she does bring a lot of it on herself. Again, I would I would never say anything to her personally on her page
no.
or anything like that. I would never send her a DM threatening her or anything like that. I think
I
that's
just
just
ignore her.
fucking ridiculous. Like, I would
Yeah.
never, yeah, for me, it's like I would never give you the satisfaction of following your channel. I think that's as far
Yeah.
as I would go. Like, I'm not going to
Exactly.
give you a follow on Twitter or a follow on Instagram because I think you're not a great actress and I don't like how you perform this character, whatever. That's the extent that I go to. I will not follow you. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go and start saying stupid shit online. Like, all these keyboard warriors, man. Like, you wouldn't have the balls to say any of this shit to her face. Like, hey, that's the way I live my life. Like, if I am just going to say something to somebody, it's going to be something I would say if you were standing right in front of me. Like, I'm not going to
Right.
hide behind a fucking keyboard. Like, and that's the problem when you give all these like cowards a voice online. This is the world that we live in now.
Oh, dude, it's like road rage, man. Like you're behind two sheets of glass, like yours and the driver and the other drivers. But the moment you guys both step out the car, it might turn into a different situation. You don't know who you're running into.
It's
And
happened to me in real life, bro. I remember years ago, I used to drive a sports car that was like hard suspension, low to the ground. Um, and I'd have to take like ramps like really slowly. Like, I'd have to nearly
mhm,
come to a stop to get over a ramp so I wouldn't damage my bumper and stuff. And I remember I was driving home from work one day, some guy behind me like fucking beeping, going crazy. I could see him like throwing his hands up in the air and everything. And I was kind of laughing. I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, calm down. What are you gonna do? Save 10 seconds by going over these ramps quicker? Like, relax. Like, I don't want
right.
to damage my car. But we got to a red light and he's fucking, I could see him like flipping me off and everything. He's like, fuck you and everything. And I just opened my door and he just like shat himself. Like, and he just sat perfectly still. And again, because my back windows were tinted, so he couldn't see me. He couldn't see who was driving. But again, I just opened the door for a second, and I'd say he actually shit himself. And I just kind of closed it. The light went green. I closed the door and drove off, just dying laughing. Like, but like again, that's the internet right now. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it's all these people who are just big men behind the keyboards, and the second they get called out, they just like block you or just start insulting you or whatever. Like, it's sad, bro.
Yep.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Cole. He had to like restrict his comments on his social media because he was getting attacked for the role of Kristen Cole. Like, again, if that was me personally, I would try and see the positives in it. It's like, okay, I'm obviously doing a great job here if I'm annoying people this much.
Right.
Um,
but the thing is like, be smart about it. Be a smart person and
Mhm.
say, hey, amazing acting you're doing. I really fucking hate this character right now.
Yeah.
Like that like in my opinion, I think that's a really good way of showing the actor that you appreciate them so much and
Mhm.
that they're doing such a good job of being an actor
Yeah.
that you are actively hating the character that you probably should be hating.
Yeah.
Like they're
Like I
doing a
think
good job of portraying it.
I think if I met like Jack Leeson in person, if I like if I ever ended up on a night out and he was there, I kind of just as a joke, I'd be like, "Yo, fuck you, Joffrey," just kind of like oh, I hated you so much on that show. But like again, it would never be pointed or directed at Jack himself.
Yeah,
It's just like oh, fuck you, Joffrey.
right.
Everyone like you did a great job, bro. Like everyone, like the world hated you. Well done. And like
Exactly.
the poor kid, like he had to like step away from acting for years. He went back to just doing stage stuff, and he went back to college and like finished his degrees and stuff like that, and just like kind of left it all behind. Because I remember
It
my mate ruined Game of Thrones on me because we were talking about Jack, and he just goes, "Oh yeah, no, Jack dies this season," and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh shit, yeah." He's like, "Yeah, look, Jack's done this season. He's finished. He's given up acting." And I was like, "What do you mean he's done?" I was like, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, he dies this season." I knew he was going to die, and I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, I can't believe that." So because my mate was just like, "Yeah, he's finishing his last scenes and he's done forever," and I was like, "Fuck." So yeah, that was painful for me getting that
yeah.
spoiler, but yeah, because again, Game of Thrones is like one of those, and I think House of the Dragon is the same. It's one of those shows where it's just respected globally that like you don't spoil stuff online. You give it the actual spoiler window. Like there's not a lot of stuff out there that does that. Like there's times where if I'm watching a show and I'm late to watch it, I know I need to stay away from social media because it's just going to be filled full of spoilers all the time. And I think Game of Thrones was definitely one of those shows where there was that respected 24 hours to give different time zones around the world that time to watch it. So I always knew day one you were kind of safe to browse around the internet, but day two, you all bets are off. Um, but yeah, like that was one because I wasn't used to getting Game of Thrones spoilers, and that really fucking broke my heart, man. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be so fucked too. Like, I know this is kind of a bit of a tangent, but it, thinking about it now, and like I'm already aware of this. I've known this for like years on end. Like the moment either the manga or the anime of One Piece shows what the One Piece is, everyone is going to spoil it. It's
Yeah.
that should be under restriction, but
Mhm.
there's so many people who are like terrible at this because it's such a what is it kind of situation that
Yeah.
you want to be the first one to say like, oh, it's this or it's
Yeah.
that. And it ruins the magic for people who have to wait, which is really sad. But at the same time, it's the same thing that you've already talked about, which is just stay off social media for the time being. We're reaching that point.
Yeah.
It's about to be revealed.
Tough,
Like,
tough for One Piece though, especially if like someone's a fan of just the like say the live action and you don't want the anime or you don't want like the anime ruined, or then you don't want the manga ruined. Like there's that. I think it's like one of the worst examples because it's like there's three mediums of it, like so that you have to kind of sidestep. So I'm kind of happy in the sense that I don't really give too much of a shit about One Piece. Like if I found out what the One Piece was, I wouldn't care. But for me, I'm sidestepping the fuck out of Demon Slayer shit at the moment because the show's not
dude,
available to me yet. I can't get it, and I'm like, I'm hearing people. I can't remember what I think I jumped onto like Den of Nerds the other day. He was doing like a kind of members only stream, and I heard that the second I jumped in, he was talking about Demon Slayer. I was like, ugh! I was like straight out, like I was like, fuck, I don't even want to hear
so
it.
so my
And that's because
buddy,
that's the one you were telling me before. The manga's
yeah,
finished there, right? So it's like you probably know the end already, and anyone who doesn't read the manga is only going off the show. Like that's their first viewing. So
right,
yeah, like I know something like crazy happens at the end, but I'm just like, I don't want to know. I'm like,
of
please, I
course.
just want to try and
Well,
view it for the first time.
so essentially, man, like the way I would suggest this if you really don't want to be missing out, at least for the time being. If you can wait, if you can dodge it, that's completely fine. Like I totally get it, respect that. My buddy, who was always an English listening, like anime watcher,
Mm-hmm.
he deliberately watched because it was his favorite show. Like he deliberately watched Dragon Ball Super with me while it was airing all Japanese and watched it with all the subtitles, even though he really hates Goku and Vegeta's voice in
Yeah,
in Japanese. He watched it because he did not want to miss out on it.
Yeah,
And that's the only time I would say I would recommend it, is if you really don't want to be spoiled, or if you really want to be, ahead of the curve essentially. You got to watch it in Japanese while it's available, and then watch it in English again. Just watch it over with the characters and their voices that you love at that point. Again.
yeah. It's like I don't have Crunchyroll, and I don't even know if I can get it properly over here. It might not even be available to me in Ireland. Like, I don't even know. I don't know anyone that has a subscription to it in this country. So it might not in
Oh,
this
I mean,
country.
you just said in this country.
I know you do, but because I know you've offered it to me before, and thank you for that. But it's like, I don't even think I can get it. So I have to rely on torrenting to get it. And, it's just not available yet.
Yeah, but there's definitely other sites that you can check out. There's one called VRV or Verve. I think there's a new one that came out that's called High Dive. You might want to check to see what sites are available for you in like, or in any country essentially. And if you don't want to pay for it, then of course you have to torrent.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I might just have to. I'm gonna see what copy of it I can get, and look, if it is sub, we'll go with it. Fuck it.
It's so good, dude. Like I
can't wait. It's my first love with anime, really, to be honest. Like, is Demon Slayer. So I definitely want to see the new stuff. And like, I even went to see the IMAX the movie release, and it was great to just even sit there by myself, which I hate doing as well. But I still enjoyed it. That's how much I like this show. So I do really want to see it like as soon as possible. Because again, like, there's people talking about it in my Discord now. I'm just like, oh, I want to be part of the conversation. Anytime I see Demon Slayer, I'm like, oh, I gotta roll out of the anime section of Discord. Like, I'm like, fuck. Yeah. So
yeah, because you see like some of our usuals like Annie and like you see Andre, like of course they know that, like, until you've told them that you've seen it, like they won't really say anything, which is great. That's that our community is very respecting of other people's like spoilers. They like, whenever I talk to Annie about One Piece, she's like, have you caught up on the manga yet? And I said, no, not yet. She's like, oh, okay, let me know when you're caught up on the manga and we'll talk about it. I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, she's a big anime sweaty. It's cool. Yeah, epic.
I think that's why she's called Annie Mae, right?
I think so. Yeah. You'd have to ask her, but yeah, I think so.
Right.
Do we have anything else to talk about in Hot D, or will we move on to the boys for the last topic of the night?
I'd say let's just move on to the boys.
Yeah, it's kind of, again, apologies to anybody who's been waiting for us to like review each of these episodes, but it's kind of hard when there's three of them at once. I'm trying to think like what was in what episode over like 2 or 3 weeks.
It was really like, just to kind of like do a full review, like it really was just kind of a build up to that point where we see the dragon fight between like all the characters, and then we see Aegon getting burned, which definitely looks like it was deliberately done by Aemond.
100%.
Yeah.
He was there to kill him, like 100%.
Right. Yeah. He saw the opportunity, and I totally get it, because he didn't like his brother. His brother's a dickhead.
Yeah, and he's useless. And again, this scene where they were sitting at the table and he starts speaking Valerian to him, and he's like struggling to kind of speak it and stuff, and it was just such an embarrassing scene. And that was kind of the scene where it's like, basically he kind of just said, I'm taking over. Like, that was a force. That was like a force of the hand. Like, that was like, Neil, like, I'm the fucking king. Like, like that was definitely it. Like, that was proper. And that's why he put on the armor and went out, like 100%.
Right. But
what the mother had said to him as well.
Yeah. And that was a definite foreshadowing, because of the fact that like his mom was literally like, you know what a good king does? Sitting down, shutting the fuck up, learning shit, and then maybe becoming wiser over time.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's just not that person at all. So he's like, I'm going to do the exact opposite of that. I'm off to war. Yeah. On a small dragon as well. Like, it's like, because I think, what's your one? The Rhaenyra? It's not. Is it Rhaenyra?
You mean the one that Dragon Road?
Yeah.
Rhaenys.
Sorry, I get confused with the names, but like her dragon, I think was her dragon like number 2. Like, hers was like the second biggest behind Vhagar or whatever his name is.
It was like the most seasoned, from what I remember.
Yeah,
like one of the most seasoned.
Basically, one of the biggest ones as well. I think Daemon's one is pretty big as well. So, but the fact that he's flying his dragon in, which I think was called Sunfire, And again, shout out to Annie because she put it in my Discord. I don't know if you saw it, but I have spoiler sections now set up for like HOTD and stuff like that. And she put in like there's actually a dragon diagram of the sizes of the dragons. Let me actually pull it up here for anybody who's watching on YouTube. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Sorry, give me just 1 second. I'll grab it.
While you're waiting, please subscribe to our channel and also listen to us on Spotify.
Hell yeah.
We play every week unless I'm on call, in which case we take a week off.
Hashtag ad. Why is this not showing up?
It's in the file somewhere.
Oh yeah, here we go. Sorry. So can you see this?
Yeah.
So yeah, look, this is like all the sizes of the dragons and like all their names as well. So
hers is Melee's.
Yeah.
Which is in the straight in the middle, the red one.
Yeah. So look at this is the main dude. He's the scariest dragon in the world right now. Scary to think there was a bigger one at one point in the lore. Terrifying. But then obviously we have that's the king's dragon, Sunfire. So he's like in like the baby range. But then you've got like this little tiny one down here in the corner. It's probably hard to see for some people, but the last dragon it's called. So yeah, that's rough. So we're gonna have that. And I like the way it puts them into scale, like the person and the horse and stuff, just to show how terrifying and scary they are.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. So yeah, shout out to Annie if she's listening. I don't know if she listens to these, but that was a cool thing she put in the Discord.
If you're not listening to Annie, why not?
yeah. I'm gonna clip that out and send it to her.
I need answers.
Yeah. So yeah, like I think like next week my prediction, or well, an educated guess I would say, is that the king is still alive. It's gonna be, I don't know if he'll be like in a coma or something. I think he probably will be in a coma because that'll suit the story to where Aemond will be able to take over and he'll be like, oh, you know, I was there, I saw what happened. He was in a battle with her dragon and he fell, and then you know he's going to take over for them in the meantime, and then
Right.
you know some time will pass. You know, I think I saw somewhere that like he might remain in a coma for like a fucking year or something like that. And then, because again, this show, like, it's very hard to sometimes follow the time jumps because the time is kind of all over the place. So I wouldn't be surprised if between episodes, say 8 and 9, there's like a year jump, and then maybe he wakes up and says like, you know, oh, Eamon did this, you know, it was his fault or whatever. Like, and that's going to create tension on the green side, which would be cool. Yeah. So I don't know. What I'm hoping for is an on-ground battle that is good. That's what I really want to see. Obviously, I'm enjoying the storylines. Like Black versus Green is great, and it's definitely it's entertaining. Damon's kind of story I think is kind of cool. Him trying to potentially, you know, get an army of his own. It's kind of a little unknown. Is like if he's trying to raise this army for himself or if he's actually doing it for the Queen. It's kind of, you know, is he going to try and maybe overthrow her at one point? Because like, you know, it kind of feels like he doesn't want to lead under her, you know. And then I think there was people theorizing again. I don't really know. I don't read the books or anything, so I don't really know. But people are theorizing that, you know, the woman that he meets is actually like the Red Witch, but she's like hundreds of years old apparently. So like she's putting spells on him and shit like that. Like, which I think would be cool. It'd be a nice little tie into Game of Thrones. Because I think in one episode of Game of Thrones, Jon Snow sees like the real version of her, and she's like old and withered, and she kind of looks like the Shining woman in the bath or whatever. Yeah. So this could be like the young version of her, like, which would be kind of cool. It'd be nice to kind of tie the two shows together in that sense. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, man. I love the show. I think like I put a little poll up for people that were watching live, like, what's your favorite show of the week? And it's kind of tied between The Boys and Hot D. To be honest, I think The Boys for me personally is like the best show that we have on at the moment, like week by week. Yeah. It's the one I'm looking forward to the most. Like I watch it like straight away, like as soon as I can. You know, obviously for me it airs at like 2 a.m. I'm not going to be watching it live. My missus is already asleep. She'd kill me if I watched it without her. But like literally we put the kids to bed on Monday night when we're all finished work. We've had dinner, put the kids to bed, and then we watch it straight away. It's the first thing we do. Like, so I'm really looking forward to watching the next episode. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Let's talk about The Boys real quick. We're live an hour and 40 now at this stage, so we'll talk about The Boys, and then I gotta get out of here because it's 1 a.m. for me. So Boys, we had episodes 5, 6, and 7. Again, I apologize. I'm finding it difficult to remember what exactly happened in 5, 6, and 7. Obviously, 7 is fresh in my mind, but what's 6 and what's 7 is kind of I'm a bit blank on it. Did we talk about when Homelander, like, I think we did. We talked about in the last episode where we sat down. It was the time when Homelander like tortured the people that made him, basically. Yeah,
Yeah.
he went down into the
Yeah.
lab and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think what happened with him after that. I know we had the cool scene with Butcher and when he kind of went unconscious. And like, I think Griff in the chat was kind of saying maybe it's like a symbiote thing that takes over, like a venom thing, which I think would be fucking epic. But I think in the latest episode, it doesn't. He's trying to like activate the parasite, and it won't listen to him. I don't know. Were you shocked to find out that Jeffrey Dean Morgan didn't exist? I thought that was like it was very obvious.
Yeah,
Very
it
obvious
was
that he
definitely
wasn't.
very obvious. I really was hoping that he was actually there. Like
Yeah.
he actually existed. I think it would have been much more enticing to kind of have that moment of like, like holy shit, like he sees like cuz that would have been kind of cool
Mm.
if Butcher was talking to him and then talking to Becca, but then like
Jeffrey Dean turns
he's
around and goes, "Who are you talking to, bro?"
no,
Or something like
not
that,
even
or the other way
no, not
around.
well, like being more like fucking like talking like she's there
Yeah.
because he's like, you fucking idiot. I know who you're talking to. And he's like,
Mm,
what the fuck do you mean? It's like you've been talking to Becca this whole fucking time. And just
mm.
kind of keeping this whole like facade that maybe he is an illusion. Maybe he is a figment of his imagination. But
Yeah.
then like I would say like bring the bombshell like near the end of the season where it's like, no, Joe
It's actually real.
existed, but
Yeah.
he just knew how fucked up Butcher was
Mm,
and so was able to respond in kind. And the only reason why people didn't like respond to Joe was because they were such short bursts, and so it didn't necessarily need a response to Joe. And so I
yeah.
think that that would have like been a much better drop
Like
because like
a reverse reveal, basically.
yeah,
Like,
essentially
yeah, I would have liked if we were to believe that he was like made up the whole time, and then it turns out at the end that like maybe Huey gets, oh hey, who are you, like, or something like, and then
yeah,
you're
like
like,
who the
oh my
fuck are
god, he
you?
is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been way better if they did it that way.
Right.
Because I thought it was painfully obvious that he doesn't exist. Because again, he's been talking to Beckett the whole time, and then like he's talking to Jeffrey Dean the whole time, and then Jeffrey Dean's character, I noticed like pretty much straight away, it's like nobody else interacts with this character. So it's only Butcher talking to him. So I'm like, this guy doesn't exist. It's very obvious. But I think if you were to led to believe that for the whole show, and then like Huey or Starlight or somebody turns around and goes, "Who's your friend?" Then you'd be like, "Oh fuck, he is real." That would have been cool, bro. I don't know. I don't know what that. I think they messed up with that a little bit because again,
Yeah.
it wasn't like a groundbreaking fucking thing for me. Like when where you see that scene where it pans out and the doctor's watching him talk to himself. I was like, obviously,
Yeah,
you
we
know,
knew that. Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's just more so the reveal that it's possible that the parasite is Joe. Like
yeah.
Joe, like if the parasite is projecting Joe to create this figment so that like
That was
it's
my understanding in episode
yeah,
7. Yeah,
yeah,
the latest episode, I think, because isn't it when Butcher's getting the shit kicked out of him by Black Noir? And he's kind of talking, and he's like saying to Joe, like, "Come out, come out, come out, come on! I need your
yeah.
help.
He's
I'm
like
going to die
Joe,
here. Yeah,
and
I
nothing
need you."
happens. Yeah,
And then Jeffrey Dean says at the end of the episode, like, the cold shoulder goes both ways, or whatever he says.
yep.
And then so yeah, I think that he is the parasite, which is
Which
cool. Yeah,
yeah, I really think that's cool. Another thing which I think was even like although they kind of screwed up the reveal of that, I think the true reveal that we saw like at the end of the most recent episode was just fantastic. I completely forgot that fucking that agent or whatever the fuck that was, the one that can that morphs
yeah,
by
the
pulling off the
shapeshifter.
skin. I didn't even think about it. I just, like we were like they're gone. Okay, I guess we won't see them again for some
Yeah,
time, or maybe we'll catch them somewhere else. We like at the bar. It started at the bar, and we
yeah.
were like, "What the fuck? Like what? That was
So,
so cool."
do you watch Supernatural? You don't watch Supernatural, do you?
No.
So Eric Kripke, the creator of the show, or the screen or showrunner or whatever you want to call him. He is also the creator of Supernatural, and in Supernatural for years they've had shapeshifters on that show who like
Mhm.
peel their skin and stuff like that. So when I saw the shapeshifter show up straight away, I was like, Kripke. I was like, yes. I was like, it was him bringing the shapeshifters over from Supernatural, and like they have the same powers and everything. Like I was like, this is fucking brilliant. So any Supernatural fans out there probably reacted the same way to me when the shapeshifter showed up, especially when she started like peeling her skin and stuff. I was like, holy shit, they're actually doing shifters in this show. I was like, this is fucking brilliant. So yeah, again, and same as you, I had forgotten about the shifter. And then when we get to the end, and obviously Annie's been compromised or whatever, I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is cool.
It's so
Yeah, because
good, dude.
again, as well, like in Supernatural, I don't know if they're going to explain this the same way, but in Supernatural, when you shift and copy somebody, you get all their memories as well. So that's how she knew the code to the safe and stuff. Because I
Right.
was thinking, like, how did she know the code? I was like, oh yeah, obviously shifters know they take their memories too, which is fucked
And,
up. Fucked up,
well,
bro.
and then like it's kind of funny because usually I kind of catch on to things like that,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I should have known from the moment that she had the suit on, because I
Yeah,
was just thinking like, oh, she's just going to be kind of coy
yeah.
with Huey or something, but then I didn't realize until then it's like, oh, okay, so she's just kind of like playing on to
She's
what,
fucking around. Yeah.
yeah, like because she originally wanted that, she was like, I want it gone, but like enticing
Actually,
Huey.
sorry, now that you're talking about this, because I was actually a little confused when I was watching this, so I'm curious. Because me and my girlfriend both looked at each other and were like, was that Huey's dream or did it actually happen? I'm kind of
It actually
confused by that now.
happened.
Yeah, because I was kind of thinking, because you know the way they cut it, and it was like Huey in bed and he was kind of dreaming and stuff. I was like, oh, is that him just having a little freaky dream about Starlight? And like, she's in the bed beside him. But then, yeah, she gets up and she's naked. So I'm like, okay, they obviously did have sex. But
Yeah.
I was thinking, did she actually wear the costume or not? So yeah, if you're probably right, she probably did.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
like,
because like again, I think she like you said, they take the memories and whatnot. It,
mm,
in Starlight's memories, it's probably that she knows that Huey likes the suit,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so it was like, I'll just grab the suit, entice him, get him very fucking tired so that he
Distracted and
doesn't
everything.
see. Yeah. So like it works out perfectly. But it's funny because Huey didn't throw the suit out again. Like it's had he thrown the suit out, that wouldn't have happened. But
I'd say
he
she
might have
probably still
died.
she still could have probably seduced him. I would say,
Possibly, yeah.
yeah, I'd say so.
Because like they're so stressed out, and I'm like, and even in my head I'm like, why would they be doing this? They're so stressed out right now.
Mm.
I was telling Katie that, and I was like, that's fucking weird. And then the moment that you saw the eyes, and I'm like,
Flicker, yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah, dude, that
But
was good.
and I think that in terms of what's going on, I know that Sage was just fired, but
Mm.
I was talking to Katie about this. I think that maybe Sage is going to end up like being
Flipping.
like, well, being like a double agent working for Newman,
Yeah.
because the shifter took the documents that would incriminate Newman, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, well, like, what's the shifter gonna do with that? Yeah, I suppose we have to wait and find out, but
right.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Sage, like, flipped and went to work with the others, because I
I would
think
hate that.
I wouldn't really like it myself, but I think it's getting to a point where I think they're realizing that Homelander has to go. He's just becoming too dangerous. He's too off the rails. And, like, even Firecracker is even, like, terrified of him now. Like, you can see like all the scenes with fucking Webweaver, bro. We have to talk about Webweaver as well. It's just deeply, deeply disturbing shit. Like, but um, when the scene, like, because again, she's kind of like hyping up Homelander and stuff like that. But like when he tears Webweaver in half, the pure look of fear in her eyes, like, is just, and she's changed after that. Like, you know,
Oh
she's
yeah.
now seeing him differently. She saw the real Homelander, you know, and that's I fucking love it. Like, but uh, I wouldn't be surprised because I know Kripke had said in an interview he was kind of shocked at how much people love Homelander, and I don't know if he like kind of took offense to it a bit. He's kind of like, you know, this guy's meant to be the bad guy, you're meant to hate him, but everybody loves Homelander. And again, I think that's partly to play with like how good Anthony Starr is and how well he plays the role. You know, I love Homelander. Like, I would hate to see him die in the show, but I think the way they're writing it and the way they're kind of directing it, it's gonna get to a point where that's probably gonna happen, whether it's going to be Ryan who kills him or the virus will work. I think they're going to maybe infect him with the virus and it won't work. It won't kill him. And I think Ryan's going to have to step in and actually end him. And I think that's how he's probably going to die. That's my guess. I haven't read a comic. I know nothing about anything that actually happens in the comics or anything. but that's just my kind of educated guess on it.
Yeah. I think if they use serum on him, I don't think of course, it's not going to kill him, but I think it will weaken him enough. And if they do use Ryan, then that would be an effective reason why they use Ryan, because then he's weak enough to be able to be taken down by someone who's because Ryan's younger than him, but he's essentially the same thing.
I think Ryan's more powerful though, because if you remember back to season 2, do you remember when Homelander's trying to kill Stormfront and he can't by himself? Like he's trying to laser her and the lasers aren't working and stuff like that. But then when Ryan's mother dies, Ryan obliterates
Stormfront. Yeah.
Like just destroys her, like limbs gone, everything, like literally in pieces. So I think Ryan actually is stronger than Homelander. He just needs that push to actually activate that anger and get there. And I think, either he's going to mature into that power himself, because again, he's the first natural born soup, right? So he's probably going to be more powerful than his father. And I think that's going to be the only way. Like, I think it'll be one of the last things that Butcher does before he dies will be to actually properly flip Ryan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. I can't wait. I'm kind of sad the show's ending. I'm really enjoying it. I think you're enjoying the season too. Like up until the last time we spoke anyway, I know we were both kind of definitely on board with it, but I see a lot of people talking shit about this season online saying it's falling off. It's not as good as it used to be. It's too woke now and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, I'm still having fun. I think it's great.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as good. Like it is dipping in quality a slight bit, but that's bound to happen. You know what I mean? You're 4 seasons into a show. It's bound to happen at some point, but I still think it's good enough to be watching on a weekly basis and then really enjoying,
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I don't think it deserves the hate it's getting. Honestly, I don't understand the hate that it's getting.
I don't either, to be honest. Like everything that's happened so far on the show is exactly how it should be. It's like season 3 was crazy, but it was crazy because things were kind of still going in the direction that both parties wanted. Whereas like in this season, it's literally the boys have no control. Vought has no control. Nobody has control whatsoever. It's chaos. And I think that's the fun part about it, is that this whole season is about fear and chaos. Like there's just no telling what's going to happen now.
Yeah. What do you think happens with A-Train?
With A-Train, he's going to die. We just don't know how. I think he's going to defend as best as he can, or he's going to run away. I think he ran away with his family already. So maybe we're not going to see him anymore, but maybe he comes back. It's the same thing as MM. He told MM, it's like, dude, you really gonna fucking run away when all this stuff is
nowhere on
going
the planet that Vought can't find you, sort of thing.
Right. So like I think what A-Train is trying to do is kind of, maybe he's still gonna stick around, but it's just gonna be like a weird relationship with the boys at this point.
Yeah. I think Homelander's gonna get him. I think it'll be one of the last things that he does. And I hope that they don't, like, but a real Homelander thing to do would be like, let's say he's away, he's in a different country, and Homelander just flies down and just wipes out his whole family and him. Like that would be something that he would do, which would obviously be sad, but at the same time, I think like Kripke would probably do something like that to try and get people to hate him even more again, But I think it's going to just have the opposite effect. I think people just love everything that he does.
Well, I would love for Homelander like Quan Chi his ass and just rip his leg off and beat him with the bloody end of it.
Yeah. Take both of his legs. It's like, you're not getting it. You're not going anywhere anymore, bro.
Yeah.
That's definitely something he would do. He'd take his legs away and be like, now, you're stationary. Like, that's it. Like, no run away from me anymore. Yeah, bro. I'm excited about it. I really like the show.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think there's only 1 episode left. I think this season only has 8 episodes. I
believe you're right.
Yeah, which
I think that's kind of the scheme now. Like people are thinking that maybe 8 episodes is kind of the key, and it's, to be honest, it's not.
No, I like 10
or 12.
Yeah,
10 or 12. That's the perfect number. I don't know why they've changed it since. These are hour longs. Give us 10 full hours of good times. Give us half a day. Give us 12 of them. Like it's not gonna hurt anything unless they've just seen so many different statistics. And if that's the case, that 8 is the magic number, then like we have to see it. But as far as we know, like it just feels like 10 is just such a good number.
Yeah. I think like if I'm remembering right, like a lot of the old HBO stuff used to be like 13. I think 13 used to be like a number that they would use quite a bit for old seasons like
Yeah.
Dexter and all these sort of shows. And yeah, but I think like when Game of Thrones came around, it was 10 per season and stuff like that. Like I think 10 just kind of became what people liked. And like if you think about it, like 12 is great. 12 is a great number. I don't know why they don't do 12 because it's like 3 months of airtime, which is
Yeah.
great. But then like with this show, they aired like 3 episodes in one go, so you're losing 3 weeks technically. And then it's only airing for another 5 weeks.
Mhm.
I don't get it. Like with this show, I actually do kind of get it. Like when I was watching episode 1, it felt like a very slow first episode. So I'm kind of like, okay, I kind of understand why they released more than one episode because I think if people waited 2 years for the show to come back and then that was all they saw in week 1, you kind of be like, oh fuck, wouldn't go down too well. So I can kind of understand why they did it. But yeah, definitely more
Yeah.
episodes. Definitely more.
Yeah, because when you look at past shows, pilot seasons last like 8 episodes,
Yeah.
like roughly 8 to 10.
Mhm.
Um, this isn't a pilot. This is fucking season 4. Like, shove us some more like episodes. Like, just go ham on it.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%, brother. With you 100%. I'm just having a look at the episodes here, just out of curiosity.
What, to see how many we got left?
Yeah, so it is. It ends on 8,
Yeah.
which I'm not happy with, but because even season 3 was only 8 as well, actually.
Yeah, like that's the scheme that they're
And
going with. And
yeah,
I
so
think
they're all
yeah, House of the Dragon is going to do the same thing, essentially. So
House of the Dragon was 10 though, right? Because it was in the
for
kind of
season 1?
format of Game of Thrones. Yeah, like yeah, it's so there's 20, so it's 10. So yeah, it's 10 episodes for season 1 anyway. Season 2 is only going to be 8. So we're losing 2 episodes for House of the Dragon. So you see,
Which is
it's not good.
it's kind of weird, but like if it's condensed enough to where I guess I'm okay with it, but like I don't know, if it lands on its feet and we're okay with the amount that we got, then I guess 8 might be the magic number. I think they might be testing out 8. Maybe they're thinking maybe like a full work day.
2 months, like sort of thing. Like I'm
Like,
thinking week by week. I'm thinking so 2 months, like it'd be on the air.
yeah.
Kind of makes sense. What's something weird here? I'm looking at on IMDb. So in the episode guides, it says like obviously the release dates and stuff. Sunday, August 4th is the last episode. But then it has season 3, so they've confirmed season 3,
Mhm.
and episodes 1 and 2 both have a date of 2024, not a specific date, but they have the year 2024 on it, which is kind of
Mhm.
interesting. So I wonder, is this season going to end on 8, and then they have 2 episodes, which would again make sense then to the 10 episode arc. But maybe they're doing a kind of break and they're going to show the last 2 episodes before the end of the year or something. Maybe they start off season
Yeah.
3 as a kind of movie event or something like that, which I don't hate. But
Yeah.
again,
I mean,
give me the 10 episodes, like So maybe they are going to do the 10 in 2024, but it's going to be split, and maybe they show it at the end of the year before like in like November, December time or something.
Demon Slayer is going to have like their final arc be in 3 movies.
I think they do that. Like that seems to be the way people like to view that show, right? It's more kind of because I remember you telling me when I was watching the show, it's like watch season 1 episodically, but then when you get to season 2, watch the film rather than watching it episodically. So,
Yeah.
and I think obviously, you're probably the rule, not the exception, sort of thing. So I think that's kind of why maybe they're going to do that. So obviously the fan base know give us as many movies as possible because it's probably a better viewing experience.
Well, it's basically the final, like kind of the final arc, essentially.
Mm.
Like it's the like literally the end
That's like
game.
the Nightmare Realm or whatever arc or whatever. Like it's the demon's base or whatever, isn't it? Where it's like all like kind of
Yeah, in the Infinity Castle.
yeah, in fact, that's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
It,
seeing that was fucking crazy, bro. Because I remember thinking like, what is this? Like it was like just something I wasn't expecting to see at all. Like so it was really nice.
dude, did you like correct me if I'm wrong, did you get a better glimpse of the Infinity Castle? Because you watched the movie where they showed like the first episode of the um the house you're
season.
training arc, right?
I
So
believe so. Yeah.
you got to see all the upper ranks.
Yeah, they were all hanging out in the castle or whatever. Yeah.
It is just like it's fucking crazy
Wasn't
how
it
like
two? Wasn't it two of the swordsmen or whatever tried to infiltrate the castle? And was it two or I think I'm terrible at remembering this for some reason, but I think a few of them try to get in, and then there ends up battling all the higher ranks, and they get wiped out. Is that what happened?
well no.
Maybe I'm remembering wrong.
Two of the pillars are chasing a couple demons, and then those demons end up running into the Infinity Castle.
They can't
And
track
so
them or
like,
anything. They don't know where the fuck they're gone and stuff.
well, and then they see in there, and so they just jump in there, and then they're like, "What the fuck is going on?" But they get kicked out, or I can't remember, or maybe they didn't, or maybe they tried to get in and it disappeared.
Yeah,
I can't remember
like that.
exactly.
I can't really remember myself. I need
But,
to rewatch the whole arc, obviously,
oh,
because I
dude,
saw
it's
a bit of it on the start of it on the big screen. But yeah,
right. But I love the conversation between the upper ranks, in which case like you see, I think it was like 5 through 2, or 5 through 1, I can't remember. Where you see like the pot guy, the crying dude, and the one guy who's like seems very happy, and then there's the dude with the 6 eyes.
yeah.
Like it's
You got to give it to them, like the design of all the different demons. Like it's just they're so unique. Like
yeah,
it's
really
really
cool.
really cool. Yeah, because again, it's a lot of these things like you would expect it to just be kind of bland or whatever, but I think it's very
Mhm.
creative, and that's what kind of has brought me into the show and like kept me around for sure. Was seeing
Yeah.
all the different demons, because as you go through the show, seasons 1 to 4 or whatever, like you're just slowly getting introduced to them, and each one is so different, like different powers, different looks, everything. Sick. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Can't wait to watch more. All right, man. I'm gonna have to end it there. It's nearly 1:30 in the morning for me, so I appreciate anybody who was here watching us live. Andre, Griff, guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Anybody who's listening to us on a replay or listening to us on Spotify or anything like that, leave a review, leave a like, drop a subscription, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next week. You're around next week, aren't you?
Yeah, I should be here next week.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have more. We'll have the last episode of
The boys.
The Boys. We'll have the last episode of it's the last episode of all the shows, actually. It's the season finales
Except,
of everything.
well, House of the Dragon, I think, is still going
No,
strong.
no, it's 8 as well.
There's no way that was episode 7. Like I could have sworn that was
Episode 7, brother.
no fucking way.
Pretty sure. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I feel like because the Red Dragon and the Gold was season like episode 4. We've only seen like halfway through.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place here. Yeah, okay. Well, we have a couple of weeks left of House of the Dragon then, which is great. I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks left. Sorry, I read it earlier. It was the 2nd of August is the finale. I don't know why I fucking blanked on that. So yeah, we've like 2 or 3 episodes left. Anyway, yeah. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching us, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.